What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. It is episode 752 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am back here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis actors. It's Mary. Welcome back, and Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all of those things. I hope you had a wonderful vacation, time with your families. I know we did.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask, it's kind of hard when you do these types of shows where it's like we had these conversations before the show, but then I have to insincerely ask you, so how was your Christmas?
But it's fine. And everyone wants to hear a certain someone's story about a certain something, so...
Oh.
I'm sure that will come up.
About Tom Holland, right?
Before any of that, we do have a couple of $20 super chats to read. Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Taco Tuesday, Brett and Mary. Welcome back. We missed both of you. Congrats to Brett on the proposal, and stop hurting yourself. You really do need to stop hurting yourself. I don't know if you guys can see, but if you're listening rather than watching, he's wearing an arm sling right now. Oh, and something else happened. What was it? Oh, yeah. Congrats on 300K, Brett and Mary. Thank you.
Yes, we did hit 300K.
There was a huge jump in subscribers, so welcome to all of the people who are new here. If this is the first episode you're watching, please don't leave.
Don't leave. We love you. Stay.
Brian Bledsoe also sent us a 20. Welcome back. We've missed you. How about a 3-hour show for the new year? Come on, let's go.
Well, look, right now... travel to get here is dicey at best. It's one of the downsides. So yesterday I said that there was no show because my arm got hurt, when in reality it was actually more because driving with one arm when you're on these treacherous back roads is less than easy. The road that we work on here doesn't plow very much, and you're just kind of left to wing it, and it's a bit dicey to get in.
That's an understatement.
We made it in today, but yeah. So
you took a spill, and nothing's broken, but you're injured.
I tore my AC joint in my left shoulder. I have an appointment at the end of they couldn't get me until the end of the month.
They're like, you don't matter.
Yeah, like I was like, well, on my referral form from the ER, it said like priority regular or priority normal, so it's obviously they don't seem to think that I need to go in earlier. But I was like, does that mean I'm left wearing the sling till then, because I'm gonna have to start physical therapy at a certain point? And he basically said they may have to do an MRI and see if it's worse than expected, whether you're gonna need surgery or not. My hope is that it's just physical therapy that needs to be done, but given the price of medical insurance these days, maybe I'll just ask him to amputate.
Luigi is...
I was gonna make that joke, but I didn't.
Yeah, Luigi's bugging right now.
I was gonna make the meme. Have you ever seen the meme with Edward Norton, where it's like Democrats when a black person disagrees with them and he slowly transforms into the guy from American History X? It's like Brett when he finds his medical bill and I slowly turn into Luigi.
Yeah.
No.
Definitely not.
No.
That was completely a joke. Not true.
So yeah, yes, guys, there in the chat, it was not just a proposal. I did get engaged over the holidays.
Oh, well, yeah, she didn't say no.
Yeah.
So.
They said, like, congrats on the proposal. Like, saying that makes it sound like she didn't say yes.
Congrats for trying.
She said yes a million times yes. No, she didn't actually say that. She.
So how do you gauge it? Like 1,000 times yes or 1,000,000 times yes?
Well, I mean, so is there going to be a hipster who's like yes, infinity times yes, 12 times yes? Like,
yes, the square root of pi, yes.
Only the math geeks would do that one. Yeah. So yes, and thank you to everyone who sent messages to me and Olivia over the break. I did not get back. It was just so many of them that I kind of just went non-compliant and stopped responding. Thank you guys all so much for all of your well wishes, and we are very, very excited. So we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. Speaking of engagements, we are going to be talking about Tom Holland and Zendaya got engaged. So did Mr. Beast, but that one was just weird. They were wearing Mr. Beast merch at the proposal.
Just an ad.
Like, I mean, what if I had been wearing PCC merch when I got engaged? That would have been weird too.
Yeah, that would be really, and no, but it's not just that. If you were wearing the PCC merch and then you also had Olivia wear PCC merch that day, you like forced her to,
that would have
and then got people to take photos of you together like that.
Been awful. It would have been awful. So we are going to talk about that. We are obviously also going to talk about the ongoing PR battle between Justin Baldoni. I do not say Baldoni. I know that it's not pronounced that way. It's how I say it, so it's how I say it. Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively.
Yes.
They starred together in the movie.
It ends with us.
I always get that and the one with Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell mixed up.
Anyone but you.
And
then there's Anne Hathaway's movie. The Idea of You.
Yeah, there's just too many of them.
We have another 20 from Pat the Plumber. Brett couldn't handle something so good happening, so he shredded his shoulder to even things out. That is so Brett.
It's like things are going too well. Time to self-sabotage.
Yeah. There's just something subconscious about it.
There's some truth in that. No, we're going to talk about the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively PR battle that's going on. I had a take originally where I was just like, nothing in Hollywood is real, and that's what you should take away from this, is that everything is manufactured and fake. But we'll get into the weeds with it, because there seems to be two diverging camps as both sides release their evidence on who the worst person was. So we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about Tom and Zendaya getting married, and then we're going to talk about the trailer that just had everybody up in arms because Meghan Markle's making a baking show, and everybody
called,
was
with love, Meghan.
I could not get angry. I just couldn't care. So
if I had a baking show or a cooking show or whatever this is that she's doing, I would call it With Hate, Mary. I think that would be perfect for my brand.
And then you just you angrily throw the ingredients in the cauldron, and you use a cauldron rather than an oven or anything.
But the story here is that neither of us are particularly big fans of Meghan Markle. She just can't do anything right in the public's eye.
Yeah, well, for me, it's like when I look at it, I guess it's because you have to know a lot about her to be angry about it. But if the logic here is that it looks fake and performative, every baking show looks fake and performative.
You're so wrong. Great British Baking Show is incredibly authentic.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll go with that then. All right, if you're ready then. Again, we're getting back into the swing of things here, so if I forget something, guys, make sure to let me know in the comments. Are you ready to get started, Mary?
I am ready.
Okay, we didn't forget anything.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. Melania Trump.
Yes, Melania Trump just secured a $40 million deal with Amazon Studios, licensing them to make a documentary about her life. And reportedly, this is being directed by Brett Ratner, who is known for Rush Hour, but also known for his sexual assault allegations. He got Me Too'd. He was accused by 6 women, actually more than 6 women, back at the height of the Me Too movement in 2017. He's kind of been out of work since then, since Warner Brothers cut ties with him.
He has not directed since 2015, and he has not produced since 2019.
So he's basically been out of work since then, and this is his first comeback after getting unanimously canceled by his industry. And I don't know anything about those allegations. I read into the surface level. Obviously, he has denied them.
My favorite part is that they referred to Rush Hour as auteur.
Auteur?
He's the Rush Hour auteur. To be fair,
That's funny.
Rush Hour is a masterpiece, and everybody should go rewatch it. So they're right.
I am most excited because this promises cameos of not just Trump, but Barron Trump. They're gonna be showing Barron Trump actually speaking.
Lots of talking.
Lots of actual, we're gonna learn about his personality and their family dynamic. At least that's what I'm hoping. Source tells Page 6 that Melania has gotten more comfortable opening herself up to the public. She's been very savvy about what she says, and she's gotten more comfortable speaking in front of people and on TV. She's more confident and has taken full control of her public image, which she knows is worth millions. And she's ready to be paid for the work that she puts into the doc and revealing more about herself.
I don't think that she should even have been self-conscious about it. I remember like 2 years. It's way more than that now because they've been out of office for so long. There was like these leaked audio tapes of her complaining about the media. That was like my favorite thing ever. She's like, I hate these people.
It was a former assistant of hers who was secretly recording their conversations. And one of the things that she said was about the media. Another thing that she said was that she resented having to deal with decorating the White House for Christmas. And she thought it was effing stupid. And everyone just knows that she's an Eastern European queen.
I mean,
like
I wish
ice queen.
I wish she'd fake it for that because I do think that there's something to be said about tradition.
She likes Christmas. But she doesn't like having to be the one that decorates the White House.
She's like, I don't want to do that. That's what I hire people for.
Exactly. She never had to do that before. We have another 20 from Zach Hates YouTube. Happy New Year to both of you. Welcome back. Missed you during the break. I might hate YouTube, but I love PCC. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
That is actually really funny. And thank you, Zach. But it's really funny to think like, so she gets a promotion to the highest office in the land and now has to do more work than she had to do before she was there.
It's giving Meghan Markle, except I love Melania, so I don't care if it's a double standard at all. And to be fair to her, she was in the entertainment industry and was a celebrity in her own right with Trump. They were a celebrity couple before taking office.
Yes.
But I think she felt the need to agree to a project like this and executive produce a documentary on herself.
Why?
Because of the relentless hate that she has received for
you
years
think it's like
now.
She's like setting the record straight.
Yeah, she wants to set the record straight. She wants to reclaim the narrative about who she is because all of these people, like all of these people in the fashion world, for instance, kind of shut her out and they cornered her when ironically they put Jill Biden on the cover of Vogue, but refused to put Melania Trump. Like, okay, it doesn't make sense to me that you're going to put Jill Biden on the cover of Vogue, but not put Melania Trump on the cover of Vogue, who is literally a supermodel, because you don't like the political views of her husband. That's insane. And she is a cultural icon, regardless of whether you agree with anything she believes. The kind of most endearing thing about her, is that you don't know who she really is behind the scenes, and you don't know what she really thinks. She's mysterious.
Some people actually, they do themselves a disservice by revealing too much because their power is in the mysterious nature of their image, right? She also, like, look, making sure that she's on board as like a producer is important in this case, because if you're Donald Trump or anybody sympathetic to him, you should be immediately weary of anything that's produced. It's like, what does Trump do? He goes, I'm going to go do an interview with CNN, and then shocked Pikachu face. They cut it up and make me look like crap. Like, he's always kind of pined for the affection of the mainstream media because he had it so much growing up. When he was, famous before he ran for president. So she should keep her head on a swivel. Obviously, Jeff Bezos, who donated to Trump's inauguration campaign, like so many, like if you didn't see this guy's like OpenAI, Bezos, Meta, Tim Cook from Apple, all donated money. Oh, by the way, guys.
Thank you.
I have a new crisis party, but it's not ready yet.
Okay.
I needed to, I need to get some stuff.
We'll let you cook. We'll let that simmer.
I had an equipment malfunction in the when I was editing. I will have the new crisis party up soon. It is bound to scare everybody in this office. It's so loud.
Okay.
Don't worry. But the point being that, like, look, there's a weird cultural shift going on right now, at least at the professional level, at the business level, where if you guys didn't see today, Mark Zuckerberg's talking about, oh my God, censorship is so bad, and we're going to get rid of the fact checkers. And I know that sounds like an aside, but it's not. The point is that all of these people are now coalescing and giving money to Trump for his inauguration campaign, and there seems to be this shift where, that pendulum, when it comes back the other way, it comes back the other way hard, and this to me is just a sign of that. Whereas 4 years ago, definitely 8 years ago, they never would have been willing to make this documentary unless it was supposed to guaranteed to have a negative slant, and it would not have involved her in any way, shape, or form along the way.
Right, it would not have been
she wouldn't have been
on the
authorization for it.
Definitely not. And another source told Page Six that Jeff Bezos took a personal interest in the documentary.
Well, you know what happened? He met his
mob wife.
Yes, his mob wife, and now he's a completely different person.
He kind of wants to model his own marriage after that of Trump. We have another 25 Canadian dollars from Kyle Dixon. Hey, PCC, I'm a dad now. Dorothy Dixon, born December 22nd, 2024, last of the generation Alpha. No betas in this house.
Yep, every poor kids are going to all be My hope is that by the time that those kids come to the age where you can be teased, that term just won't be culturally relevant anymore.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations,
on
man. That's a big deal.
The birth of your daughter, and I think she has an adorable name. I love the name Dorothy. It's kind of just in time for Wicked.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that it's also interesting they chose a canceled person to direct this, and telling as well that they had to find someone who would even be willing to take this on.
I honestly think they would have been able to find somebody else too, but
I don't know if they would have been as impartial.
Yeah. Yep.
It remains to be seen if it will be.
That is the hope, is that they do a good job being as impartial as possible when making this. Fun fact: my dad went to see the Bob Dylan movie over the holiday break, and I was just like, oh, why would you do that?
I forgot that was even coming out.
I was like, well, I mean, other than the fact that Bob Dylan sucks, why would you go see that?
They're going because they love Timothy Chalamet.
and then I was like, there should be a moratorium on making biopics about people that are still alive.
Yeah.
Sorry. Documentaries, yes. Biopics, no.
Maybe even just biopics in general, because I'm sick of them.
I'm kind of on board, especially
I'm fine
about
with
musicians.
the documentary, but a Melania biopic, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And I think that she might be revealing too much. Like
it'll hurt her aura.
She has such a strong aura, and everyone knows that she's a bad bitch. Everybody knows that. Everyone knows that she, like, the face card never declines. Well, she's mysterious and cold and calculating, and you don't know what's going on behind her eyes.
It's kind of like, it's not like Jackie O, but Jackie O had her own mystique that was separate from her husband.
Definitely, yeah. But there's with Jackie O is more of a whimsical.
Yeah. But it was his own thing. Like, apart from her husband, she had there was if you described someone as having Jackie O style, you would understand what they meant.
Right.
At least women would. I wouldn't. But
definitely,
it's a term I've heard.
But about Brett Ratner, they say the Melania documentary is his first film as a director since 2014's Hercules.
And to be fair, canceled or not, that movie's a good enough reason to not be given any roles. You
didn't need to get accused of assault for that to happen.
That one should have probably hurt The Rock's career too.
Ratner was accused of assault and harassment by 6 women, including actresses Olivia Munn and Natasha Henstridge. Elliot Page also accused him of sexual harassment and also outing them. That, as a result, meant that Warner Bros. Had to cut ties with him soon after.
Yeah.
And I think there were several other allegations against him as well. It wasn't even just that.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see where it goes. But I think it'll be interesting. I like the idea of seeing some of these productions that kind of signal a shift back to center where, somebody who's culturally influential can have something made about them, and it doesn't have to tie back to the fact that everybody who's a far left lunatic thinks that everyone to the right, to the left of Stalin is a Nazi.
I would just caution against thinking that people like Jeff Bezos, people like Mark Zuckerberg, people like Tim Cook just woke up one day and they were like,
business.
I was wrong. Yeah. It's a business move.
That's fine.
And they're only going to publicly show support insofar as it personally benefits them and their bottom line.
But I think
it's not
that's okay.
ideological. I wouldn't say it's okay or not okay. I just think that people are getting too easily swindled by them framing it as an ideological change that they underwent.
That's a problem. When they frame it as if I've seen the error of my ways, I would rather you didn't lie to me and just say look, I want to make money at my business, and my business now aligns with your values. Now we could go all over the place about whether we believe they should have done that beforehand. The fact of the matter is, the best way to influence somebody is to make it beneficial for them, right? And if you want to see change, the best way to do that is to make sure that what you believe is what is culturally influential at the time. So as long as they fall in camp with you, that's okay. Just know not to trust them, only as far as you can throw them.
Right.
That's the best you can do, and just go from there and look out for your own interest. But I still think that this could be very, very... this would probably be more interesting to me than one about Trump, because his life is so much more documented and heavily covered, that this would actually probably be more interesting.
Right, yeah.
Almost like, it's kind of like every so often TV shows will do a thing where they'll do an episode from like a secondary character's point of view. I would almost like to see like all of these, like if they were to make a biopic one day, here's an interesting premise. It's like all of the influential moments in Trump's presidency or the times when he's running for president and even before, but from her perspective being in the same place as him, as almost like a camera, like,
that would be really interesting.
Like I don't think she was there in Pittsburgh. I don't think she was there when he was almost assassinated. But imagine like if she had been, and the story has her, it's shown from her perspective from the sidelines rather than his perspective as it happens. I think that could be an interesting way to frame a narrative for a biopic if they were to do that.
That's like exactly the way that they made the Priscilla movie.
Okay.
It's about Elvis from Priscilla's eyes.
Okay. Well, there you go.
I think that's a really good way that they could do it. I just don't trust them, and you shouldn't either.
You should not. All right.
Emma Stone is receiving a lot of backlash right now, not for anything she really did or said, but because she got a haircut. And she debuted a pixie cut on the red carpet at the Golden Globes the other night. And people were both praising her for this, but mostly just relentlessly bullying her for this. I don't think that it's advisable for women to cut their hair any shorter than their shoulder length.
Being a woman has to suck sometimes. I'm just like,
okay, but you can say that, but also like you don't have to do that to yourself, right?
You don't,
like you don't have to.
It's also my perspective.
Make yourself
is more like,
ugly.
My perspective is more that she's a celebrity, and any drastic change will be taken into account by the public as a celebrity. But yeah,
more so it's like being a celebrity must suck sometimes, but it doesn't suck that bad because you're rich.
Yeah. So you've got that to offset it.
So that's kind of nice.
People say mean things, and I blow my nose with $100 bills, they say.
So here's what she looks like. This is her new look. A lot of people have been saying she shaved her head for a while, but she was hiding it wearing wigs. And it's actually for a role.
Okay.
Weirdly. So, I mean, I didn't know that it was for a role. I just don't think any women should do this in general, though, because a lot of women think that it's just... something that complements their face, and it's not.
Also, these types of haircuts in Hollywood tend to be some type of statement more than just something they think looks good.
Especially if it's just a buzz cut.
Yeah.
Like the way that Emma Corrin did, I believe.
Yeah.
It's definitely more of a political statement than a style choice.
Like, the best thing we have going for us is that this did not happen directly after the election, so it's not like...
But it's not that uncommon that I go out and I see women with shaved heads.
Yeah.
And it's usually girls my age who are doing this. And I just think it's a travesty. Like, I mean, it really needs to stop, because... if you are even if you're the most gorgeous woman on the planet, getting a pixie cut or shaving your head does not add to your beauty. It still detracts from it. So you will always look better with long hair no matter what.
I will say that not everybody can be Morena Baccarin.
Not everyone can pull it off. That's
what I'm saying.
For sure.
Morena Baccarin could pull it off. Not everybody can pull it off.
There's a difference between pulling it off just barely and actually looking better with it. No woman looks better with short hair. She can get away with it if she's gorgeous, like inhumanly gorgeous. She can get away with it and pull it off. but it never adds to your beauty, and that's
Neve Campbell had
indisputable.
Neve Campbell had like above shoulder length hair in Scream 2, and I still think that's the best Neve Campbell ever looked in any of the Scream movies.
But maybe that was just the best she ever looked, and she just happened to have that haircut at the time.
It complemented her face in the movie, and and even you might even make the statement that in that movie, after all of the trauma of the first movie, maybe she wanted a haircut. I don't believe that there was that much
trauma.
Well, I mean, she was constantly trying to be murdered in the Scream movie. So yeah, like after the first movie, she goes
character getting.
Yeah, but I'm saying in movie.
Okay.
In movie,
okay.
I'm saying like that could be the concept that something like that could be true. And I thought that worked for her character. Nothing, however, is worse than the hair on Courtney. Courtney Cox in Scream 3. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look up the pictures of her hair in Scream 3. It's so bad that at one point somebody posted a picture and she like responded on Twitter and said, "What the F?"
Well, what was it?
It was like she had bangs up to here.
Oh, the micro bangs.
Yeah.
Before they were considered cool again.
Yeah.
Here were some of the comments. Gross. Stop listening to your gay hairdressers. Anna, that Star Wars girl, said, the only time a girl should have this short of hair is straight out of the womb.
Hot take.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hot take, but I also agree with it. Another one said, women, I can't stress this enough. Gay hairdressers love this, and women that are competing with you love it because it knocks you down multiple pegs. Men hate it. And that is completely true. I just would never be that friend that tells my friend, oh, you would look great with short hair. I would never do that to someone. It goes against my entire moral compass, really.
You would never do that to harm their image.
No, I would maybe tell them, you could be one of those people who could get away with it, maybe. But for most people, that is definitely not true. There was also this wife jack meme where she's saying, oh, I could never pull that off, but it looks amazing on you.
There was the hair.
That's not, honestly, that's not as bad as a pixie cut, though.
No.
Still pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
see micro bangs shorter than that.
That's the joke, right? That women will women compliment each other to their face and talk crap behind their back, and they try to sabotage one another. Or do they actually mean it? Does that woman actually mean like, oh, you look great, but I just wouldn't be able to pull it off? Or is she just not willing to say a harsh truth?
There is an element of truth to
I'm going to tell you right now.
Each one.
Even if it's a harsh truth, you're still going to be in the a-hole for saying it. Like here's the thing. There's only a few people in your life that you should take that advice from anyways, lest you be led astray by anyone who just feels like they can get you to do whatever they want. There's only so many people whose opinions you should value enough to be able to give you harsh truths. So if somebody you kind of know tells you it, they might mean it, they might not, but you're not going to give it any type of, you're not going to pay any mind to it because you're like, what do they know?
For instance,
I hate people who are like,
someone should have told you not to have a man bun, but they didn't.
They did not. No, But to be fair, I did not wear the man bun out. I wore it up sometimes skating because my hair would get.
It was purely functional. It was not a style.
But the point being that there is a certain type of jerk who just likes to say like, people just hate me because I tell the truth. Yes, that is true.
I'm that jerk.
Some of the time, but a certain amount of white lies and social decorum is what holds society together.
It depends on how close you are. You're,
yes.
We have a 20 from Just Cause I'm Free. Some women look amazing with a pixie haircut. Slim face works best with it, but her hair is not good looking. Well, what makes her different then? Because I think she has a pretty slim face. It just doesn't work for her.
The problem is like, how do you know? Like, we've probably advanced AI technology enough now that we can give you an idea of what it's going to look like before you do it. Otherwise, it's like you have to bet black on 26 and go all in.
Yeah.
And then hope to God that it works out.
They say Emma Stone's pixie cut debut comes after fans were convinced that she had shaved her locks for her role in Yorgos Lanthimos' upcoming comedy sci-fi film, Bugonia. And the synopsis for this movie says it's about two conspiracy-obsessed young men who kidnap a high-powered CEO of a major company convinced that she is an alien intent on destroying planet Earth.
That sounds awesome, especially if she actually is an alien who's hell-bent on destroying planet Earth. Don't make this some type of like political statement on conspiracy theories. I actually put out a tweet over the break about like they're talking about this X-Files reboot that Disney's supposedly doing. I said, you know why it doesn't work anymore is because conspiracy is so mainstream now because it's so accessible to the general public. Whereas like back in the day, especially back when the X-Files was initially popular, like you had to like get online to do it, and getting online
library.
You had to go to the library to a specific section. Like all hobbies are better when there's like a high barrier to entry, meaning that the people who want to be involved really, really want to be involved and aren't just dabbling. That's a good thing. Now, conspiracy theorist is just a political term that's used to hacksaw the reputation of anybody that a person doesn't like, lest you say something on Facebook that they don't agree with. So it's boring. It's not what it used to be in the 90s. There's no joy in it anymore. It's actually the opposite of that. So this movie should not be a political statement. She should actually be a lizard alien who's hell-bent on destroying the Earth.
Yeah, I'm assuming that she is the suspect alien CEO in the movie, but I don't know. It sounds like an interesting premise, but it's made by the same director who directed Poor Things, in which she played a baby prostitute.
I forgot about that one.
So I don't really know if I'm interested in anything else that this guy is going to make because he is a degenerate. Regardless, though, I just noticed that people had very strong opinions about this and they were unsolicited. One person said, "I'm loving everyone's paranoid schizophrenic ramblings being projected onto an actress who shaved her head for an upcoming film and is regrowing her hair out. But thanks for sharing all your neuroses, and don't worry, Lanthimos will never give you a call."
It is kind of true that these types of celebrities turn themselves into kind of a billboard for people's internal thoughts and problems, where she's not saying anything. They're just projecting their own feelings onto her.
Yeah, that's kind of why she exists, and that's why movies exist, because your character in the movie is meant to be projected on.
Lots of actors, like I always think about like in the show NCIS, Mark Harmon had to have this awful it's supposed to be like the remnants of a high and tight, like a bowl cut.
Okay.
And it's just not good. It's actually a joke in the show about how the haircut isn't good. And I'm like, so like, did he just wear a lot of hats? Like for the 9 months when he's not on set, did he just wear a lot of hats, or did he just own the shitty haircut?
I don't know.
I don't know. Like
I would have to see it, but I don't know. But I wanted to go back to the point you made earlier. Like, are those women telling the truth when they say it looks amazing on you? Like, I could never pull it off, but it looks amazing on you.
Well, that's why the motives of, like, you have to, the only way to care about this is to know the person so that you can judge just how honest they might actually be in that situation.
Even that's not reliable, because a lot of people say things that they don't mean, or they have motivations that they themselves don't understand. So my best guess is that when women say things like that, like, I could never pull it off, but it looks amazing on you, I bet they think that they're telling the truth, and they're not knowingly lying to you so that they can steal your boyfriend. Sometimes it's a mix of both. And sometimes women see other women in an entirely different way than men see women. And they don't view, I mean, there's a term called the female gaze as opposed to the male gaze for a reason.
Like the same thing, like I could actually say that to be true, like of myself. Like there are certain types of like fades that men get where they wear the hair forward rather than parted like mine is, that my hair can't do because I have colics all over.
And you're like, I could never pull it off, but it looks amazing.
I would never say that to someone because that's weird. But like the point being that that's actually a statement that could be true. It's just whether that much thought actually went into it.
Right.
I don't know. Or maybe the women just hate each other and they're all sabotaging themselves.
Yeah, that would be the more incendiary narrative.
All right.
Over Christmas, a lot of people were spending time with their families, roasting chestnuts over an open fire, etc. But others were engaging in an outrageous debate on X about H-1B visas, including Vivek Ramaswamy. And here his take on the whole issue kind of veered off into something entirely unrelated. And he posted a whole rant about the false idols that American kids grew up with via tropes that are in Hollywood films and TV shows. And that's the reason, he supposes, they have been raised to be lazy, mediocre slobs. His take really took me aback. I thought that he had more discretion than to say what he just said. But in case you missed it, I'm just going to read it to you now. Here's his take. The reason top tech companies often hire foreign-born and first-generation engineers over Native Americans isn't because of an innate American IQ deficit, a lazy and wrong explanation. A key part of it comes down to the C word, culture. Tough questions demand tough answers, and if we're really serious about fixing the problem, we have to confront the truth. Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long, at least since the 90s and likely longer. That doesn't start in college, it starts young. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World or Zach and Slater over Screech in Saved by the Bell or Stefan over Steve Urkel in Family Matters will not produce the best engineers. Fact. I know multiple sets of immigrant parents in the 90s who actively limited how much their kids could watch those TV shows precisely because they promoted mediocrity, and their kids went on to become wildly successful STEM graduates.
Flag on the play. Even if it was showing you the most aspirational content known to man, limiting your kids' television and entertainment would have been a good idea anyways, no matter what they were watching.
Right, and limiting their social life, as in not letting them go to sleepovers, that comes up next, is objectively bad for their development. We have a 20 from Mr. Moose Knuckle. Happy 2025 PCC. Hope y'all had an awesome holiday. Question for the panel. What's your guys' general consensus on adult Lego builders / collectors? Wholesome hobby or childish hobby? Wishing you guys a prosperous 2025.
Mary?
Personally, I think that it's a childish hobby, but you have to be okay with that.
It takes it's kind of like puzzles, right? It takes a lot of work to actually go through it, and you have to stick with it. No, I think perfectly reasonable hobby for an adult to have. What I find funny about it is they're expensive as hell, so you're actually pricing out the middle class with most of the Lego stuff these days anyways. If there's any critique of it, it's that it's a bourgeoisie rich person hobby and not a proletariat hobby.
But it also depends on what it is, right? Like, they have adult Lego sets, but they also have ones that are for the children.
Yeah.
And I do think it's childish, but you have to own it and not be ashamed of it for it to not make you childish. You know what I mean? We have a 20 from the Manic Mustache. Happy New Year, Crisis Actors. Congratulations, Mr. Dasvik, on the acquisition of the new fiancé. I hope both of you find continued success in all that lay before y'all. And remember, a small change can lead to big opportunities.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, continuing.
Okay. Here he calls for more movies like Whiplash, fewer reruns of Friends, more math tutoring, fewer sleepovers, more weekend science competitions, fewer Saturday morning cartoons, more books, less TV.
Well, then his complaint seems to be about the mediocrity in general of entertainment as an actual entity, not just the type of entertainment you're getting, but what you're actually watching doesn't sound like it matters to him. He just thinks you should be doing something else. Right. It doesn't matter whether you venerate the prom queen. It matters that you're watching anything at all, which is stupid because moderation is important, of course. But it's got nothing to do with the type of stuff you're watching. I would draw your argument back to the thing that people have been saying for 20 years if you're part of shill media, which is like video games cause people to be violent. Well, that has been repeatedly proven to be untrue. So if playing video games that are violent doesn't make you violent, does watching TV full of mediocre people just turn you into a mediocre person? No, I think that's an unbelievably simplistic way to look at the human condition here in America.
Yeah.
And I think how you're raised plays way more of a role than whether you watch Saved by the Bell or not. Okay.
Yeah, it's weird how he did that subtle switch in his language. He just doesn't like that anyone watches TV ever. Or has a social life.
Or they're kind of just dorks that never got over. Look, and we've talked about this before. It is largely a misconception that everybody gets a happy ending, and the dork who was a dork in high school goes on to be wildly successful, and the jock ends up being a burnout drunk at the local bar. And that's not just in movies and television. Like, there's like, what is the Taylor Swift song, Mean? Like, basically about that.
Yeah.
Right? Not really how it works. They'll marry in 8. They'll own a car dealership. They'll be successful. They'll have kids and they'll live in the suburbs. Sucks to suck. That's life.
The attractive, popular guy.
They have social skills that actually benefit them in the future.
Right. The attractive, popular guy in high school who had a lively social life and did sports and got along with people and his teachers. He's more likely to be a successful adult.
If anything,
true.
What it shows is that he kind of fell victim to the actual narrative of the movies that he's critiquing, which is like, so for movies and television for years, have you ever seen the trope? It's like, what I've learned is that any guy who ties a sweater around his shoulders is automatically an asshole. It's a trope of the 80s. Right? So they believe that, if you were a jock in high school, that you automatically pushed kids in lockers and that you were a jerk. And in the narrative world of entertainment, the jerk gets his comeuppance, because otherwise, why would you make a movie unless there's a happy ending, right? Mm-hmm. The problem is everybody in a movie is into a movie unto themselves, so they are the lead character in their film. And life is far more complicated than that. And he's kind of boiling it down to a weird type of derivative outcome that's not actually real.
The whole thing is a massive cope, in my opinion. We have another 20 from D-Man. IKEA is adult Legos. Same wordless instructions.
Olivia loves putting IKEA furniture together. She loves putting furniture together.
That's kind of insane.
Yeah.
But more power to her. I'll make sure to call her if I ever have a piece of IKEA furniture that I don't want to make. I'm going to continue where he left off. So he said, more books, less TV, more creating, less chillin', more extracurriculars, less hanging out at the mall.
Look, all of that is fairly good advice, I guess. I don't know what that has to do with Corey in Boy Meets World.
It doesn't. He's
cheating on
just
Topanga
spewing.
is the real problem.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with kids watching cartoons or hanging out at the mall. Why is that bad? He's just saying if you don't spend all of your time doing something productive, then you're not doing something that's worthwhile. And I think that's a very materialistic worldview.
Well, it's not just that. He's focusing on it through the lens of tech. Right?
Yeah.
Which is a very insular profession for a lot of them. Whether you're writing code or doing something, you're interacting with yourself and maybe a couple of other people on your team, right? But a lot of careers require you to have very, very strong social skills. Some of the best off people today are people who work in sales, who have to know how to talk to other people and interact with other people. They have to be able to build social relationships. All of those things are the things that he's talking about as being a waste of time. Going to the mall, hanging out with your friends. No, learning how to interact with other human beings is not something that necessarily makes you lazy. Now, it can if you focus on partying and interacting with other people in lieu of actually starting a career or something like that. But it's kind of like he's taking a very, very complex issue and he's boiling it down to what his viewpoint can sort of dissect. But that's not everybody's lived experience.
I think that he is mad, like any Screech would be, that in real life Zach Morris gets the girl and the job. And like it or not, people who are not as intelligent as you but have other achievements or advantages over you that they didn't earn will outperform you almost every time. And it doesn't have to do with your work ethic or your raw intelligence level necessarily. People need to learn to be in the world. It's kind of why I am more pro like teenagers having dating experiences, you know, like in a controlled environment at least. When so many people say, well, what's the use in that? Well, it's not useful. But we should be doing useless things and making useless things like art.
Define useful, right? Like,
yeah,
like, what do you mean? Like, how
but the
is
point
any
of
type
it is that it's useless to hang out at the mall, and it's useless to watch or even to make a TV show. That's the point, is that it's edifying in some other less tangible way that doesn't make money. And he seems to only interpret value in the world in what you call tech mindset. And he's a striver, and he's resentful against people who didn't have to strive. And I really wish that someone who became a multi-billionaire in their 30s could just be grateful for that, instead of spewing their resentments all over the timeline and hating on the people that were cooler than them in high school. Like, grow up.
I'll actually give you, like, if I was to critique myself at work, on top of, like, critiquing this show or how I do on this show, which I am very, very harsh on myself with how I, like, every time this show's like, oh, that went awful for me. Point being, like, if I had to judge myself harshly, I would say that I don't do enough in actually, like, networking. Like, you come across a lot of people in this job where you meet, you know, whether it's guests who are on Timcast or other shows, and you have the potential to meet and network with a lot of people. But since I am more inherently introverted, I tend to do my work and go home. Now, a striver might do well in that in tech, but in this profession, it's good to meet people and know people. That's important, which is the opposite of what he's saying here. He's pretending like that doesn't matter. It matters.
Yeah, Vivek is one of those people who hates on post-work drinks.
We just talked about that.
Funny how that comes up once again.
He's with the Gen Zers on that one.
Yeah, there's too much of an antisocial streak these days, just in general. I don't know why people in their 20s are acting like they're retired and they like to go home and like drink a cup of tea.
Was it you that I saw post? No, I saw somebody else post. It was like me and my it's like me after work, and it was like somebody in their room watching TV, and somebody says, hot take, this isn't good unless you're in your late 30s or early 40s.
Yeah, at least get old first.
It became like a meme where it's like everyone's like me acting like a grandpa, like I'm home on a Friday. Like, it's not a flex to be like, and I was that person. For the most part, skate, work, skate, and go home. That was me. But I never thought of it as a flex to be like, oh, home by myself on a Friday night rather than out partying. Like, why is that a flex? It's just weird.
Yeah, I don't think that partying as a lifestyle is cool, but specifically not partying because you think you're above it all is extremely uncool. And I don't like that that's an increasingly popular sentiment. Like, it became a meme, like, oh, that, like, when you cancel on your friends.
Yes.
Like, that's not cool. Like, just, in fact, if you don't want to hang out with people, just say that. You know, just own that.
All right.
That sucks.
What would you like to see, cringe or cute of the day?
You decide.
All right, we'll do cringe of the day first. Make sure that I've got the right one open here. Let's refresh.
We have another JoJo Siwa cringe that I picked out.
You can flip me over like a fresh pillow. We be underneath the sheets, getting sweet and low, shooting espresso, cinnamon French toast. Hella hanging off the bedpost. You're a better view than the Malibu coast. I be getting lucky charms when I taste a rainbow. Take a sip, hello. Make her drip, hello. Go. You can flip.
Why did they start cheering? I don't know. Every clip that I see of JoJo Siwa's appearance at Brown University is worse than the last.
It says JoJo Siwa threatens to release new music.
No one wants that. No one wants you to release the freestyle rap.
Please don't.
Don't do it, JoJo.
Thanks.
She actually just met Big Ed. Never thought that crossover would happen.
Well, it could be worse. Maybe she'll perform with Dave Blunt's.
Oh.
Seen that guy?
Are you gonna manifest that?
The 500-pound rapper?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make it happen. All right, guys, I am going to ask you to please submit your cute of the days on X. Tag me and the show at Brett Dasvik and at popculture_show with the hashtag PCCPets, hashtag cute of the day, both of those, so that we can start rebuilding a list of people to have here. I will show one or two today, and they are adorable, as usual. Big Dave submitted, Frankie has his spots in the house to snooze. One of them is on the love seat, wrapped up in my jacket that smells of the Christmas ham that I smoked. We're catching up on holiday pictures.
I'm sure he's loving that.
He looks very cozy. Let's
Yeah,
do one more
food
here.
coma.
This one's from Sean McDonald. It says, me, Gizmo, and Casper ringing in the new year.
Aw. Well, they're not like partying, but that's okay.
That's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Again, guys, submit your pets in there and we will have them on for Q of the Day. We kind of fell behind. I did a bunch of them at the end there in the last day before we went off to break.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to get a new list going back here. So let's go ahead and get started.
In the worst timing ever, Blake Lively decided to launch a lawsuit against her It Ends With Us co-star for workplace hostility and sexual harassment. This happened on December 21st, so we are obviously way behind in just reporting on it. I'm sure that some of you have already read into some of the details, but she claims that he was engaging in some really wild and intrusive and disgusting perverted behavior on set. She is standing by those claims. However, he has hit back with his own receipts and denied all of this. It's just wild to watch the court of public opinion switch up this fast in real time. And it's being called the new Johnny Depp Amber Heard of, I guess, 2025 at this point. So here were some of the details of her lawsuit. She says that he engaged in, I guess this was part of the sexual harassment claims. He would tell her about his pornography addiction and tell her about his sexual conquests. He would make mentions of cast and crew's genitalia. He would inquire about Blake Lively's weight, and he would show nude videos and images of women to Blake Lively.
It all comes across very caricaturish.
Yeah.
Okay, my first instinct when I saw all this, especially when like his talent agency drops him and he gets awards revoked, was that it all felt very coordinated and
I mean, this doesn't sound outlandish.
Not to ever defend a male feminist, which I will never do, and he is absolutely the epitome of male feminism, given that he has like a podcast about deconstructing what it means to be male and masculinity, and he's given TED Talks about redefining masculinity. All of that is suspect as it is and always seems very try-hard to me. The industry push against him immediately seemed very, very coordinated.
Yeah, that should raise
first.
alarm for
Yes.
sure. The fact that it was so coordinated, it seemed. But that was my first instinct as well. Like, if we're going to talk about the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni PR battle, I think we need to lay some ground rules first. How about this? We're not going to take the side of the Hollywood mean girl, Blake Lively, and we're also not going to take the side of the odious male feminist director either, because they're both probably repugnant people. And they're both probably less than being completely honest about this situation, what really went down. So why should we trust either party?
I mean, that's the take I usually have on all of these things. Like, whenever we get into these Me Too type cases, that's not exactly what this is like, I don't know, I wasn't there. We can report on what's been said in the public eye, but at the end of the day, I don't know.
But this isn't a new thing, though.
No.
The lawsuit is new, but the drama and disputes between them were already rumored in the summer, back when this movie came out. And interestingly, it seemed to be a passion project for Justin Baldoni to direct this movie because he's just such an ally to women, and he really cares about making a movie that advocates against domestic violence. The controversy there was about the marketing of the film.
Correct.
People were claiming that Blake Lively was trivializing the meaning of it by making it all about the florals and my hair care products that I'm selling.
She was right, because
whatever.
the movie ended up being extremely successful.
Right, so she ended up winning out. There was no reason for her to come and take a torch and light it all on fire by launching this lawsuit. She never needed to do that. People already forgot about
she could have
hating
just let
her.
it be.
It was already old news. Nobody was talking about it anymore. But she just resurrected it and made herself look pretty bad, actually. So she gave him a list of demands to stop doing all of these inappropriate things with her during production. And he claims that he has no memory of having any list of demands whatsoever. Here was another part of her lawsuit. They say, on the day of shooting the scene in which Lively's character gives birth, Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath, one of the producers, suddenly pressured her to simulate full nudity despite no mention of nudity for this scene in the script, her contract, or previous discussions. Justin Baldoni insisted to Blake Lively that women give birth naked, and that his wife ripped her clothes off during labor. He claimed it was not normal for women to remain in hospital gowns while giving birth.
To be fair,
Blake Lively,
the worst trope in all of television is when you're watching a network TV show and they go to a strip club and the strippers are all wearing clothes. So unrealistic.
Depends on the state, though. Some of it's illegal. Just because I'm free said, I'm all for Hollywood infighting and lawfare. Isn't Lively married to Deadpool? That's dangerous considering how Deadpool is. They are a Hollywood power couple.
What's scarier is not Deadpool, but Ryan Reynolds and the amount of power he wields within Hollywood. I mean, he's a billionaire.
They both do together for their own ends. So Blake Lively disagreed, but she felt forced to in a compromise that she would be naked from below the chest down in this scene. And when it was filmed, the set was chaotic, crowded, and lacking in standard industry protections for filming nude scenes. Choreographing the scene with an intimacy coordinator, having a signed nudity writer, or simply turning off the monitors so the scene was not broadcast to all the crew on set. But Jamie Heath and Justin Baldoni failed to close the set, allowing non-essential crew to pass through while Miss Lively was mostly nude with her legs spread in stirrups, and only a small piece of fabric was covering her genitalia. Among the non-essential persons present that day was Wayfarer co-chairman Mr. Sarowitz, who flew in for one of his few visits.
I'll never get over the fact that that's the name of the production company.
She was not provided with anything to cover herself between takes until she had made multiple requests. She became alarmed when Justin Baldoni introduced his best friend to play the role of the OBGYN, when ordinarily a small role of this nature would be filled by a local actor. She felt the selection of Mr. Baldoni's friend for this intimate role, in which the actor's face and hands were in close proximity to her nearly nude genitalia for the scene, was invasive and humiliating.
So is the idea here that he's like, hey, bro, you want to do this scene? Like, is that what she's implying here?
I guess she's implying that Justin Baldoni called up his male friend and was like, bro, you're going to get to see Blake Lively's vagina. Yeah. And I'm going to pay you
Imagine
for it.
Being that guy. He's like actually a good actor. He's like, come on, man. I like remember what I said in the last segment about how you got to know people to get ahead in life? Networking.
Yeah. Another excerpt from the lawsuit says, on another day, Blake Lively wore a low-cut dress to facilitate breastfeeding, but had it covered up with a coat. When the jacket briefly popped open at one moment to reveal the dress, Mr. Baldoni commented about how much he liked her outfit, which flustered Blake Lively. Later that day, he pressured her while she was in pre-approved wardrobe to remove her coat in front of the crew and multiple background actors in a packed bar. He said he wanted to see her onesie under the coat because it was zipped low to reveal her lace bra. Consistent with past practice, he said, "I think you look sexy," in a tone that made her feel ogled and exposed.
Again, so if this is true, and it could be true, like, how do we prove this? Like, how do I care if I can't know?
Supposedly, if there were other people present to witness that conversation or witness the scene being filmed that she was talking about.
I guess so much of it just seems like a caricature of like the lecherous person that it doesn't necessarily pass the smell test for me, especially given the stuff that's come out now about Blake Lively and the New York Times and the coordinated campaign. I don't necessarily give it 100%, it doesn't pass the smell test for me.
Aside from any of the hearsay, one of the biggest allegations that Blake Lively included in this lawsuit was that Justin Baldoni specifically hired a crisis PR team to launch a smear campaign against her in the media back when this film was being marketed in theaters. And then she included text conversations in an expose the New York Times published about this. What was found out after Justin Baldoni responded is that they edited all of those conversations over text to look more sinister than they actually were. So she alleged that Justin Baldoni hired a crisis PR expert named Melissa Nathan, who had also previously worked for Johnny Depp, by the way, in order to discredit her.
Which then, of course, Amber Heard then started trying to like use this case to like win her reputation back. That's never happening. You crapped in a dude's bed.
Melissa Nathan wrote, allegedly in a text, "You know we can bury anyone," after a publicist said that Justin Baldoni wanted Lively to feel like she can be buried. And this came from the New York Times excerpt of those text conversations. However, we'll show you later that was edited and they hid certain parts of it.
Context clues and stuff in the actual text messages, which is not good.
Now, Melissa Nathan, the crisis PR expert they're referring to there, is separately suing Justin Baldoni as well for making it seem like they were in cahoots. She's like, "I was never hired to smear campaign Blake Lively." So Justin Baldoni's lawyer responded saying, "This is shameful that Blake Lively and her reps would make such serious and categorically false accusations against Justin Baldoni, and yet another desperate attempt to fix her negative reputation, which was garnered from her own remarks and actions during the campaign for the film, interviews and press activities that were observed publicly in real time, which allowed for the internet to generate their own views and opinions." At the time, though, I really thought Justin Baldoni was the more annoying of the pair of them, and it's because he was so sanctimonious about being an activist, not just a filmmaker.
Depending on your personality, that will bother you.
Yeah, that was my take after all of that concluded. And it still kind of is. I still think they're both annoying, but I kind of don't feel sorry for the male feminist.
No,
sorry.
My point would be that the male feminist is more annoying on paper, and she's probably really insufferable in person.
Interpersonally, yeah. Well, as a result of Blake Lively launching this lawsuit, it seemed like the entire internet and the entire industry swung to back her. Yeah. They all went behind her statements. So first of all, Justin Baldoni got dropped by his talent agency. Then they revoked an award from Justin Baldoni called the Voices of Solidarity Award.
I did like
honoring men who have advocated for women.
I mean, that was hilarious watching the people who he's trying to advocate for then dunk on him, saying, "Why does this award need to exist for anyone anyways?" when they're just asking you to be a good person.
Yeah, but they don't like the nice guys like me, the nice male feminist guys. So Colleen Hoover also released a statement. If you weren't aware, Colleen Hoover is the author of the book that this movie was based on. And she said, "You have nothing but been honest, kind, supportive, and patient since the day we met. Thank you for being exactly the human that you are. Never change, never wilt."
I mean, even that is too flowery of a statement for me to believe you.
But that's the point. It's flowery. Yeah. The whole point is florals. Florals. Where are your florals?
Thanks, I hate it.
Amber Heard also spoke publicly to support Blake Lively. saying social media is the absolute personification of the classic saying, a lie travels halfway around the world before the truth can get its boots on. I saw that firsthand and up close. It's as horrifying as it is destructive.
But what about when the truth hits you and then craps in your bed? Just a question for her.
I'm going to be awaiting her response.
Yes.
Yeah. So Amber Heard is like kind of jumping onto this bandwagon.
Oh, yeah, for herself. Because
she sees this pattern repeating. And still, Blake Lively is going to come out being the Amber Heard in this situation because people don't believe her anymore. But Sony also took her side publicly, threw him under the bus. Christina Ricci posted a message in support of Blake Lively as well. And Justin Baldoni at this point had no choice but to fire back with his own lawsuit, not against Blake Lively herself, although it may still be in the works. Now Justin Baldoni is suing the New York Times for their misreporting of private text conversations.
I did find this tweet interesting. Zach Peter says, interesting that Blake Lively filed her new lawsuit in New York where anti-SLAPP is less strict and basically ensures that it won't be televised like Depp vs. Heard, whereas Justin Baldoni's lawsuit was filed in California demanding a jury trial. Seems that he wants all of this to be aired publicly.
Right. They say this is a $250 million lawsuit filed by Justin Baldoni against the Times in Los Angeles Superior Court. He's among a group of 10 plaintiffs that also includes publicist Melissa Nathan, Jennifer Abel, who are suing the newspaper for libel and false light invasion of privacy over the December 21st article titled, "We Can Bury Anyone Inside a Hollywood Smear Machine."
And that, like, really at the end of the day, that's what all of this comes down to me. The problem that I had with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and you've talked about this at length too, is that it became a proxy war for the genders. These people do not live your life. They do not live my life. They don't live any sort of normal life at all. What they experience is not akin to anything that we're going to go through. And most of what you're seeing here is the smoke and mirrors of millionaires with PR firms on retainer that are helping them craft a narrative that will help them get more work and stay in public favor because their livelihood requires them to be in public favor. The best thing you can do is, if you do care about this stuff, is keep it insulated and think of it as something that's interesting on its own. Do not draw larger conclusions to what's going on between men and women in the world or anything like that, like people did with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, or even in the professional world. Don't take this as like indicative of your traditional workplace culture. If we want to take something that's more akin to this story, which is less Me Too and more to do with, what's the other one? Not Mean Too?
That's what she's doing.
Yes.
I mean, Blake Lively isn't really Me-tooing him. She's mean-tooing him and saying that he was just a big jerk on set, which is not surprising at all. Even if that is true, it's not something that he's criminally liable for. But he has responded so strongly to each and every last one of her points.
He absolutely has to.
In a way that really just lends credibility more to his side of the story.
I think
for instance, when she said
she was hoping he'd just lay down.
What did you... Yeah, like, of course he's going to have to defend himself. You just tried to destroy this man's career. But in regard to him asking about Blake Lively's weight, he clarified he was actually asking her weight to her personal trainer because he needed to pick her up in a scene in the movie and he has back problems.
Okay, that made me laugh.
Like, that's insane. She also reportedly pushed for her character in the movie to be sexy, her words. The nude video that she was referring to being shown to her by Justin Baldoni was in fact a video of his wife giving birth. Yeah. And he showed it to her because they were talking about the scene of her character giving birth in the movie.
It's also like Colonel Kurtz, who's friend of the show, been on the channel, on this show many times, is covering this very, very heavily. This was also a really funny one. Like, Blake Lively pressured Sony into taking creative control from the director. Like, she just sounds more like, even worse, just like a nightmare to work with, right? Creative control freak, wants to control the project. Oddly enough, you kind of can't blame her because the movie ended up being very successful and her
Yes.
approach worked, but it clearly wasn't the director's vision of the film because he was taking it from the perspective of an activist. It had the slant of an activist behind it. And she's like, well, I know what's going to sell. Advertising florals and what are you going to wear to the premiere? It's like Barbie with spousal abuse.
Yeah, it's like Barbie, but
if
Ken
Ken
is
was an
throwing
abusive prick.
punches.
Throwing hands with
Throwing
Ken.
hands. Domestic abuse Barbie.
I mean,
that's literally what she went with,
But
and
also,
women loved it.
If he does have like minor back problems and he's doing it just as a low blow, it's the best low blow ever. He's like, look, I'm not saying you're fat.
Hey, look, she's
I-
postpartum. I don't know.
I got a slip disc. I don't know what her workout routine is, but
Well, I mean, it's true that she has a track record of doing that, as does Ryan Reynolds, because Ryan Reynolds took a lot of creative control for Deadpool and Wolverine, and still it did well.
Yes.
And then I think I recall him kind of shutting out the director.
Tim from the first one. Tim, what was that director's name? It's not Tim Schmidt. What's the guy who did the first Deadpool got shut out of
Yeah.
Deadpool 2? Yeah.
This is just something that they do. And she was bringing scripts unauthorized to Ryan Reynolds to write things and edit things. And she was micromanaging the entire process while Justin Baldoni was just grateful to be there because this is his breakout project with an A-lister.
Kidding
so he
me?
has to go along with it.
Tim Miller, thank you, Chad. I knew somebody was gonna come up with the name of it. Tim Miller, is he also the guy who did? Remember the video that I played you from Clownfish with the funny quote about where they're like the guy's talking about trauma? I think that was Tim Miller from talking about trauma from doing Terminator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But the point being that Justin Baldoni was he was a TV actor before that. He was Olivia loved Jane the Virgin. He was one of the stars of Jane the Virgin. So it was a chance to break out into bigger roles for him. And he bought the script for this, so he clearly cared a lot about it. Again, I take no sides when it comes to Hollywood because they don't represent me. They don't represent you. And they're all just kind of awful anyways.
Well, I think that as this story unfolds, it's going to be interesting to watch people suddenly forget that they were supporting Blake Lively at the beginning. Like, they're just going to have... They're going to act like they were always impartial, and they're going to come to regret making public statements in support of Blake Lively as more information comes out, is my prediction. Because you can already see the court of public opinion swaying back toward Justin Baldoni once again. In fact, she was set to present at the Golden Globes over the weekend, and they had to cancel her appearance because it was too much of a gamble with the ratings after last year's
I mean, I don't
slump.
see how that. I feel like it would do numbers for them because people would tune in for. You guys see last night Hulk Hogan was on the first episode of WWE Raw on Netflix, and he got booed out of the building because they were in California.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
Yep.
It's cold.
Brutal. Yeah. And then people were also like looking too far into it. Like, look it, they brought Hugh Jackman to the premiere. Why was he there? I'm like, they bring celebrities. They're friends. They bring celebrities.
It's
to these
good for the
premieres.
movie.
It's all stupid, guys. It's all very stupid.
It is very stupid, but I'm still kind of
If you
interested.
want very, very in-depth coverage of this, I do recommend watching Colonel Kurtz's channel. She
Yes.
goes deep in depth on these stories, so you should check her out.
Yes, definitely. Sketch Therapy said, I missed you guys. There's some beanied dude named Tim that was bragging about you guys reaching 300K yesterday on his show. He sounds proud of y'all.
Well,
That's so nice of him.
we are very excited, and we hope more people are watching.
Shout out to that dude
the-
named Tim.
In the beanie.
Joshua Throckmorton said, welcome back. You have a
thank
very interesting last name.
Guys, we have 1,200 people watching and 353 likes. There should be more likes.
What the heck?
There should be more likes there. Come on.
You're slacking. Pete Donovan said, welcome back, Brett and Mary. Happy New Year to you all. And don't forget, it's still Christmas until February 2nd, the Feast of the Presentation.
Wait, I thought it was January 6th was when it was like you still wished Merry Christmas to people.
January 6th would be the Epiphany.
That's what Odin was saying on his OMB reviews.
But it's also confusing because I thought it was like different for different liturgical calendars, so I'm not sure. Pop Culture Junkie said, happy 2025. I seriously missed PCC. Hope you both had a joyous holiday. Brett, congrats, and I pray your injury is a nothing burger with cheese.
We can only hope. Well, again, if they're going to make me wait to get into a freaking appointment until the end of the month, then how serious can they think it is? But I talked to some people who had the same injury, and they were saying it's going to be a lot of physical therapy, a lot of that. The best thing about being back, guys, is that we get to be your background noise again. See, Netflix is trying to steal our thunder these days because they know everybody just sits around on their phones. But we were the initiators of giving you something to listen to while you're doing something else.
Brett, a nothing burger with cheese is just a slice of cheese. Have you thought about that before? Shower thought. Corey Anderson said, glad y'all are back. I have been binging Dadvocate, Roma Army, and Book of Enoch videos in your absence. Is there a video of you hurting yourself?
Yes, there was. Honestly,
are you gonna post it?
I already did. It was in my story for like a day. It didn't honestly
post it on main feed.
It didn't look that bad, to be completely honest. The funny thing about it is like, so if you guys don't know, like, you can film with a camera, you can film with a 360 camera, and then you can film with a 360 camera on a monopod where you can literally like, so if you're filming by yourself, you're just at I was at the castle, and a lot of times you just set up a camera static and film it, and then you can zoom and pan inside the shot depending on how wide it is. Or if you want to film lines, which is where you do multiple tricks at once, you can use like a 360 camera if you're by yourself and actually like take the camera along with you. The problem is when you do that, you have to make a decision sometimes when you fall to save yourself or save the camera. Now, normally falling on ramps is not that dangerous. The problem is as it gets colder, your muscles or your bone, you're just more brittle and you don't fall as easily. Mm-hmm. But had I not been using the 360 camera, I would have just slid out on my back and it would have been perfectly fine. But because I was going to do that, if I had slid out, the camera would have gone the other way and likely had hit the ground. Yeah. So I slid out on my side.
How much money would you have lost on it then?
I mean, 360 cameras are fairly expensive, $500. Not as much as I'll probably end up having to pay in physical therapy.
Throw the camera next time is what we've learned here.
But yeah, like the funny thing is like 2 injuries in 7 months is the most I've been hurt in 10 years. Like I hadn't been to an ER since.
Expect more of that.
Yeah. It's not getting old. People are like getting older. It's not getting older. It's not skating consistently enough. So when I'm skating every day and you're in better shape and you're just in the groove and your legs are just looser, it just comes more naturally to you than when you're skating every few days, every so often, and you just aren't in the zone. So it's a bummer, but it happens.
Elvin McGoth said, Merry Christmas. Today is Christmas in Russia.
I didn't know that.
I wish I could say that in Russian. Yorishima Otaru said, no joke, I just rewatched Rush Hour 20 minutes ago. It's a really good movie.
Oh, yep. It's good.
Art.
Let's do one more.
Sorenko Productions said, that ring must have cost an arm and a leg or a finger and shoulder, I guess. LOL. Congrats again, Brett and Olivia. Also excited for the return of PCC.
We are so glad to be back.
You paid for the ring in pain.
In pain.
That's what happens.
I did. All right, let's hold off on the rest and let's come back after the fact.
Yes. The only successful Spider-Man couple just took the next big step in their relationship to tie the knot. Tom Holland, he has officially proposed to Zendaya at some point between Christmas and New Year's last year, technically. And the whole internet was just ablaze with support for them. And I thought it was weirdly wholesome that everyone was just finally being positive about something for once. I did not see any haters, no detractors saying this is actually a bad thing because, and they're making up reasons to be jealous. But yeah, I think that they found out because Zendaya appeared on the Golden Globes red carpet with her ring on. Mm-hmm. And people were like, that's in a conspicuous place, and it doesn't seem like it was there before. So they confirmed those rumors, and TMZ reported on it. Sources close to the couple have told TMZ that this happened sometime between Christmas and New Year's in an intimate setting in one of Zendaya's family homes.
One of them?
One of them.
Must be nice.
You know, extended family. I'm sure she's been able to buy all of her extended family houses, which is really nice.
Must be nice.
And they say that Tom didn't make a huge show of the engagement. It wasn't over the top. Instead, very romantic and intimate. The family wasn't there. It was just a moment between Tom and Zendaya. They first started dating in 2021. I didn't know this. They knew each other for many years before ever dating or ever publicly
Well, I mean,
dating.
they're both celebrities, so I guess they ran in the same circles.
But they were on the Spider-Man movie in
2017.
2017, right? So they were just like friends for the longest, and a lot of people prefer it that way.
You know, he became Spider-Man. He had to get jacked to play the role and got his confidence up. And he's like, I don't care if you're 2 inches taller than me. I'm going to ask her out.
Their height difference is weirdly so endearing as well, in my opinion. Because he must just have impeccable riz.
I mean, it helps when you're Spider-Man and you're a well-to-do actor. But
helps. She's also Zendaya too, so like that's why the debate always happens, like who's more famous. But I think that this is a really good sign for the Zoomers. I believe Tom Holland and Zendaya are elder Zoomers, and
he's 28, 27.
So what year would that mean he's born?
I don't know if that would make.
I believe that would mean he's a 1998 baby.
Yeah.
So he is technically Gen Z.
No,
that
would be
Zendaya.
26 would be 1998.
Really?
Yes.
Or it depends on who you ask, because people say starting in 1996.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying, like, if
but he would be Gen Z.
Yeah.
So they are like the elder Zoomers who are kind of setting the example for what's to come. And I like that they did this seemingly in a more traditional way, where it didn't need to be this showy publicity stunt. And also, TMZ reported that Tom Holland asked Zendaya's dad for permission to propose many months before he actually popped the question, which is surprising to me to hear about someone in this Hollywood industry. Like, I didn't know that any of them still cared about traditions like that or keeping things old-fashioned.
I mean, it's fair to point out that a lot of them say one thing in public and feel a very different way behind the scenes because they have to do what they have to do to remain in the good graces of the industry.
Exactly. Yeah, they kind of say that they believe one thing, but then behave a different way.
Correct.
So don't believe them at their word about what they believe.
So if he takes her last name, does he just become Tom?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's Tom Daya. They just both become Tom Daya. Sources
Don't
close to the
hyphenate.
couple have told TMZ that Zendaya's dad was asked months ago in order to ask for Zendaya's hand in marriage. And it was an important step for Tom, as he is very traditional and felt it was important to secure his blessing first. He accepted, and Zendaya's family is very excited. And Zendaya's family loves Tom and thinks that he is a class act.
Well, of course he asked for permission to marry her.
Another source said that he wanted to propose over the holidays, and he is very adamant about having kids and settling down. So they're ready for the next chapter.
I mean, he did say, like, once I become a dad, I'm not going to act anymore. I'm just going to be a dad. Like,
right. He's been talking about this since before the engagement news even came out. In a recent interview with Men's Health, Tom Holland spoke about the future of his career. And he said, when I have kids, you will not see me in movies anymore. Golf and dad, and I will just disappear off the face of the earth.
I'm going to press X to doubt on that one.
We'll have to check in a few years from now after they've had a baby if that's, if you're really going to stop working.
Is the idea here that, like, I guess that's a pretty progressive take. Is she going to...
Well, no, he'll go back to, like, behind the scenes producing stuff as they always do instead of
that's
starring
no different. I mean,
things.
it's not like acting is any less or more time consuming than the rest of it. Like, being a producer also requires you to focus on your job and...
But it does allow you more privacy, right?
I suppose. If the idea here is it's about the time, if the idea here is that it's about the privacy and not the time away from the kids.
I mean, do you think that it's a sign of trends shifting more towards old-fashioned practices?
I mean, no,
Or
I think that these things probably happen every day.
those things are becoming more fashionable?
Maybe just on the virtue that he's a big name actor. Like I point this out all the time. Go find any long running TV show that you love and go look at some of the lead actors there. And then on IMDb, you can look up on IMDb and you can stalk these actors and look at their it lists who they've been married to. A lot of these actors have been married for 10, 20, 25 years, especially the older ones, right? Like the blue collar side of Hollywood has done this for ages, like long-term relationships and marriages. Not the same thing as somebody in his position. I remember, what's his dude? Not Jerry O'Connell. Chris O'Donnell talked about like one of the reasons he liked going to television rather than movies was that it allowed him to settle down and he knew where he was going to be 6 months from now rather than am I going to be in another country filming for some movie, and that it allowed him to take care of his family to go and work on traditional television. I think that there's a lot of that sentiment there. It's just that that's not the stuff that draws headlines. He's the type of person who draws headlines. So now you could make the point that somebody who does draw attention is now showing that they have somewhat traditional views. Maybe it's just because he's British. He's European, right? So
he's more traditional because
maybe that's what it is. He's just proper because he's British.
He cares about propriety.
He is British, right?
Yes. Yeah, you got that right. Yeah. There are some people that I thought were British and they weren't, but he's definitely British. But that's like why I find the conversation about like their work-life balance as celebrities so interesting, because they're going to be a married couple starring in a movie together. And doing press together. And at some point, doesn't familiarity breed contempt? It was just announced that Christopher Nolan is including them in the cast for his live action adaptation of The Odyssey.
Did you see the whole discourse going on over the break about people like, you've never heard of The Odyssey?
What do you mean?
Like, people were like,
never heard of The Odyssey?
Well, there was somebody who's like never heard of it. And then people were like dunking on them because they'd never heard of it.
Well, it's more so a sign of the times than their fault. Yeah. But yeah, you should know about The Odyssey, even if you haven't read it. Yeah. I definitely didn't enjoy reading it.
At the very least, like the culture, it's been culturally referenced in movies and television.
Mm-hmm. But they're, I guess going to make Tom Holland play. Is he really going to play Odysseus?
I don't know.
I don't know, but they're going to be starring in this movie
playing,
together.
Who's she playing?
Penelope?
Is she?
I don't know. That's his wife.
I don't know I don't know who she's playing. I thought she was playing like somebody else. But the point being, they're going to continue to work together.
Isn't that weird though? Like, why would you want to be on a movie and a press tour with your spouse?
Maybe it's like they've made it work for so long that they don't feel like that there's any reason to stop now. But maybe once they actually get married, that will kind of be like, hey, maybe we don't need to do this. But you could also make the argument then, the flip side of that is like, okay, you have the option to work together, but now you're saying that we shouldn't. So now we're going to spend 6 months apart at a time. I'm going to have to go off on these exotic locations to film movies while you're at home filming Euphoria, or she's going to have to go off to exotic locations while he's at home taking care of the kids. Like, it's kind of, you're caught between a rock and a hard place. There's no good option there.
They also maintain a healthy distance anyway, but they were hating on Eva Mendes for saying that she would prefer not to act anymore or not to act nearly as often just because she wants to focus on her kids and being a wife and being a mom. And they were saying she was brainwashed by Ryan Gosling. Like, that's insane. But they do maintain like more of a healthy distance publicly. He said he avoids most non-mandatory public events with the exception of Zendaya's premieres, though he adds that he doesn't walk the carpets with her because it's not my moment, it's her moment, and if we go together, it's about us.
And then that showed a bunch of people can't read because they thought what he was saying was that it becomes about me. Mm-hmm. And so they were like, oh, imagine him thinking he's the main character, when what he's saying is that their relation, whether it's the height difference or just the unique status of their relationship because of when they got together and they act in these movies together, their relationship is a matter of public interest a lot of the time. And when she's on the red carpet, he'd rather the focus be on her. That's good, I guess, for the most part. I mean, I don't know if maybe she should be like, look, we're together and I want to go to these events in public and I don't really care if the focus is on me. I like the idea more that he just says that because he doesn't want to go.
Yeah.
Like he wants to sit at home and drink a beer while he's a non-alcoholic beer.
A zero alcohol beero.
Yeah. Like he wants to stay at home and play video games. So he's like, oh, honey, I want you to get your shine tonight. Go, have fun.
And she's like, I love that about you.
And really, he's like, oh, look, I don't care that she's taller than me, but some days I'm just not feeling the most confident. Some days I got to stay home. I'm sorry.
I would also like to add that she got his initial tattooed. People noticed
okay,
that.
that might be the most callback to time traditions of the past.
Now that's old-fashioned.
Like, see, that is the type of thing where now we're so jaded as a society that the average person is going to go, why would you do that? The divorce rate is 50%. Why would you ever do that?
Well, if she were covered in tattoos, it wouldn't be as meaningful, but that's literally the only tattoo that she has. So I guess she thought it was worth it. But
look, who's somebody in the chat mentioned Eva Mendes. She's the one who married Ryan Gosling, right?
yes.
Yeah, and she's like a producer and stays behind the scenes, but you know, she's like, I got a life at home and we're doing our thing. Problem is, when you do that as a woman, you're then criticized for not being feminist enough.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So I think maybe what the more interesting part about it is they do actually, me and you've had this discussion a lot about who is the most famous of the two. But I think that me and you have both come to different conclusions. I tend to think he is more famous because he's Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is perhaps the most famous comic book character of all time, maybe next to Batman. And you think that she's more famous because of the modeling and Nickelodeon or Disney, and all this stuff. And maybe the fact that it's actually up for debate is why it's such an interesting discussion, because you don't actually know who the more famous of the two is, and therefore it makes the dynamics of it interesting.
They're gonna try to outcompete each other.
Yeah.
Let's read some super chats. Kara McLean said, "Go Lions!" #Justice for Mocha.
There will never be justice for Mocha. I'm sorry.
Marco said they should be called Jen Bravo or Jen Orange.
I kind of like Jen Bravo.
What is that?
Because the new generation's Generation Beta that started on January 1st.
Nah, just let them be betas.
I'm guessing my hope for them is that by the time they come of age where you're getting picked on, that term is just not culturally relevant anymore.
Or they'll just be called Gen B.
Yeah.
Something like that. Suringo Productions said, I'm surprised Megan didn't call it American Riviera Orchard. I want my privacy, but please watch my baking show with love, Megan. That's me.
That would have been, honestly, that would have been great. She should lean into it. She should turn her, we'll get into it.
Just be a worse person.
We'll talk about it.
Shane H. Wilder said, I want to recommend Clint Eastwood's Juror Number 2. It took a different direction than I expected. Warner Bros. Screwed him over by only silently releasing on 50 screens, then pushing it off to Max. Yeah,
that is true. Look, this time of year, if we're being honest, is where movies go to die anyways.
No one's going to the theater in January?
It came out in December, right? But as a December release, would it have done good next to Moana 2 and Mufasa and Sonic 3 and what else is out, right? And Wicked still
You didn't see Sonic 3,
No, I haven't
you?
seen it yet. I have not seen it yet. We were gone that first week, and then
I heard Matt Walsh loved it.
that was my favorite tweet. I hereby decree that because people hate it so much, he should be the only movie reviewer on
No,
Earth.
I heard he was lukewarm on it.
I laughed at that tweet. It made me laugh. The thing is, you have to understand his dry sense of humor.
But that's the thing. I really thought Matt Walsh likes Sonic?
It made you like, oh,
let's go. I liked the tweet thinking that he was being genuine. Brian Bledsoe said, no 3 hours. Just say you don't love us.
I'm sorry. We can't do 3 hours today.
No.
I love this message. This in the chat says, kids, let's go see Clint Eastwood. Just picturing a dad saying that to his kids, like, kids, let's go see the new Clint Eastwood.
Who is that? Shane H. Wilder said, long hair has always been more attractive on women. Pre-Christian Romans believed that long hair would help women with conceiving a child, while long hair or hair at all on men would prevent it. Yeah. The men shaved their heads? Is that what you're telling me? Yeah. I don't think women like that very much.
Let's hold off on the rest. Let's talk about Meghan Markle.
Yeah, Meghan Markle's latest blunder might be the funniest and most embarrassing of all. She is releasing a new series with Netflix called With Love, Meghan, and after watching the trailer, don't entirely understand what it's about other than just her picking berries in a garden and like pretending to bake ciabatta and hanging out with her celebrity friends. She's like serving tea and cake to Mindy Kaling in a kitchen that isn't hers, and that's the point of the show. It's just a bunch of rich elite women giggling with each other and arranging flowers and eating macaroons. That's the point of the show. So we're going to watch the trailer and have our real-time reactions.
Thank you, YouTube. I know that it's going to need to be cut out later, so I hate
YouTube says you're welcome.
I hate you sometimes. All right, here we go. That loud. Okay.
Netflix describes this here. The inspiring series produced by Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, reimagines
Wait, I
the
thought
genre
she wasn't a
of
Duchess
life.
anymore.
Well, she gets to hang
Keep the
on
title
to
like
the
the president
title
does?
for
Okay.
dear life
Okay.
still. She reimagines the genre of lifestyle programming, blending practical how-tos and candid conversation with friends, new and old. She shares personal tips and tricks, embracing playfulness over perfection, and highlights how easy it can be to create beauty, even in the unexpected. She and her guests roll up their sleeves in the kitchen, the garden, and beyond, and invite you to do the same.
Here's the thing. First things first, everyone got really, really mad at
They
this.
did.
If you're on X, everybody got incensed at this. Every cooking show is pretty much like this. It's a faux type of cutesiness and like faux reality. So that like other than like you have to know her to be annoyed by this, right? So the benefit of somebody who does a show like this, who's not a public figure with all the baggage that she has, is that they can put on this facade that's probably not who they are, not even close to what they are in real life. And you can buy into it because you don't know as much about them, right?
Yeah.
So her problem is that people know a lot about you and there's all sorts of baggage that comes with it. I can't bring myself to care because everyone in Hollywood is fake and stupid. So when I see something like this, all it looks like is the same type of stuff as everything else. I mean, would I rather watch Martha Stewart? Of course, she's been to jail. I would way rather watch, exercise yard cuisine with Martha Stewart or something like that. But in this, it's just I can't be angry. I don't care. Like it looks as fake as everything that Netflix puts out. It looks as fake as every cooking show that gets put out.
I think that this is why I like Martha Stewart, because she's not doing this whole faux demure thing. She's like, yeah, we're in the pursuit of perfection. We are going to pursue perfection and be unfriendly.
And if you don't like it, you're fired.
And if you don't like it, you're fired, and I'm destroying your life.
I'll tell you what she could have done to help her public image. Make this show, but be really bad at it. Like, show yourself humbling yourself consistently. Like, hey, I'm a duchess, I'm an actress, I have no idea how to cook. And consistently make it badly. And then have like the person, like a guest come in to show you how to make it correctly. It's still going to be fake and stupid, but at least it would still show you have a sense of humility. Show you not like even the fact that she calls it like we're not seeking perfection. We're seeking, what did she say? We're not seeking perfection. We're seeking like love or something, or joy.
No, she said we're not in pursuit of perfection. We're in pursuit of joy.
I would rather she said I'm seeking perfection and failed every time, and people might warm to you a little bit more.
Yeah, it'd be way more honest. But she's not capable of that.
No.
And watching this would feel like a lobotomy. Like, I thought that was the appeal of watching the baking show.
Why you watch something like this?
But this would feel like that in like a painful way. It's just like odd to me that they even kept their contract with Harry and Meghan. Like Netflix lost I mean, they made the Harry and Meghan docu-series about how they're victims and everyone is just a big meanie for not liking them. And then they make this to kind of do some positive reinforcement and no one is buying it. Like, I don't know. Some of the reactions, though, you're right, were very extreme.
They were.
Like, I don't believe anyone is this incensed.
Like, I can't
at a Netflix trailer.
Maybe it's just because people on X are very good at like creative writing projects, and
they
like,
are.
and
I'll hand it to them.
they write up these like long-winded pieces. Not even long-winded. So they find a 2-sentence punchy line about how angry this made them. It's like when somebody writes LOL. Do I actually think you were laughing out loud? Not really. Probably not.
Sometimes I am.
But in this case, like, I guess it's just a structure of priorities. Like, I'm already, and Mary can attest to this, I'm already introspectively neurotic enough about my own life. If I allow Meghan Markle's lame cooking show to bother me, I've already lost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to share some of the takes. Firstly, from Meghan McCain, who I would call a friend of the show. I don't know if she would call herself that. She said, I was originally a Meghan Markle supporter. I thought she was cool, stylish, and refreshing. Like the rest of the world, my opinion of her changed when she disrespected the royal family. Now that she wants to be American again instead of British aristocracy, what she seems to forget is that Americans want real, raw, uncensored. All of this, even in the trailer, is highly curated, produced, and out of touch.
Every cooking show is highly curated, overproduced, and out of touch. Most of the time, they made it. I'm sorry. Most of the time, they were like, she rented a house to film this in. Most of these cooking shows are filmed in studios, in fake kitchens. Okay? Like, it's all fake. None of it's real. If you're looking for real, don't go to anything produced in Hollywood. It's not a fair critique.
I guess she's not doing the faux authentic thing well enough to make people buy it. But I think that what people started doing was a whole, how can you have a cooking show on Netflix when there's a genocide going on in Gaza? And it's like, okay, it's really not that deep. Like
they were saying like shit like Americans can't buy groceries. Yes, that is a critique of politicians.
She said there have been 2 terror attacks in 2 days, major wars raging, and Americans can't pay for groceries. We're a country in rage, uncertainty, and intensity right now. This concept is ill-advised. I would have told her to do a show helping bring fresh food to food deserts in low-income neighborhoods. Do something to help people instead of your ego.
That's even stupider!
This is why the world doesn't like you. Nothing else, just completely and utterly tone deaf to the moment. Here's the thing, though. If Meghan Markle actually did a Netflix show about giving food to poor people,
everybody would dunk on it.
It would be the dumbest thing ever, and she would be dunked on even worse than she's being dunked on right now. There is genuinely nothing she could do that would make you happy. I mean that. So
I'm telling you, the only way is if she dunks on herself. She has to let herself be the butt of the joke for a while.
Yes, you're right, but the unrealistic, it's not going to happen. Another friend of the show, Link Lauren, tweeted, this is one of the most out-of-touch things I've seen in a while. Most Americans are struggling to keep food on the table, pay their rent, their mortgage, etc. Who wants to watch an ex-duchess walk around her Montecito mansion picking flowers from a bougie home garden?
Have you seen
that is a lifestyle that very few can relate to.
Have you seen the numbers on HGTV?
Have you seen the numbers on the Kardashians?
Those shows do huge numbers.
The numbers on any of the Real Housewives shows?
Yeah. People don't look.
Relatable isn't really what people want. Even when they claim that they want relatable, they don't want relatable.
That is everything that they're saying is a fair critique of a politician, right? A politician living a lavish life while their constituents are poor and broke. Nobody should honestly expect normalcy or a regular life from a celebrity. If you're doing that, you're an idiot.
Right. Well, I think that what no one is expressing and what really is obnoxious about her trailer for this show is they included all of these clips of her saying these little demure comments like, we're not in pursuit of perfection.
Again, it's
we're
fake,
in pursuit of joy. Or she's just like giggling to herself and acting like, you know, I like dance when no one's watching. Like, she just is like acting like this fake ass person. And yeah, everyone can tell. Everyone can tell that it's fake. And that would be something I come to expect from anyone in the entertainment industry, is having a persona of some kind. But for her, it's like, you've kind of already peeled the curtain back, because
that's what I meant earlier when I said like, you benefit from being an unknown quantity to your audience. When they don't know enough about you, you can kind of become whatever you want to them. She can't do that. She's kind of rebranding in a way that's too late. I like what Sarenko says in the chat. He says, women watch aspirational. It's funny because men want aspirational when it comes to their superheroes, and women want aspirational when it comes to their cooking and
their tea parties
and their home and what their home is going to look like, right? It's why you go to a Home Goods on a Saturday and you'll get run over by women looking to get something from the tchotchkes in the back. This is stupid. And it's her own fault, because there isn't a way for her to rebrand. But I find most of the criticism to be ridiculously disingenuous. It's based on your disdain of her, but I don't think that your critiques are up to snuff.
Well, the problem is they ran away from the UK and renounced their royal titles.
Am I supposed to care that they angered British people?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, logically speaking, they are behaving in a way that is actually embarrassing for themselves, because they ran away from the royal family and renounced their titles, and also sold family secrets for a profit. And you can clearly see that Harry did that at the behest of Meghan. And she is a particularly rotten and self-involved person.
She should make a show about how to control men.
And they thought that when they moved to the U.S. and bought this mansion in Montecito and made friends with all of these celebrities, they thought that they were going to become like the next Kardashians. And then they found out that not only do British people not like them, but also Americans don't like them.
You know what it is?
And there is nothing exceptional about them.
It's kind of like the reason people are so infuriated would be like, imagine you're Trump or the Kardashians and a bunch of people love you, even though people that hate you can't understand for the life of them why anyone would like you. And I think that's true of both of those groups. There are plenty of people who, they might not love the Kardashians, but they'll watch every episode of these shows, and that infuriates people who look at them and they're like, they're famous for being famous. I don't get it. The same is kind of true of Trump, when people are like, I don't understand how anybody could like this guy. But then there's lots of us who are like, haha, he's hilarious. Are you kidding me? Like, that's just what it is. She's not interesting enough to be either of those.
No, neither is
she needs
any
to turn
guest that she has on the show.
But
either.
the thing is Trump and the Kardashians are both willing to play the heel. They're both willing to be the bad guy to the people that they don't like, or that don't like them.
That's true.
She needs to just lean into it. Stop asking for privacy and trying to. Did you see the video of her from? She made like a video where she runs through the sand and like writes 2025 in the sand, and somebody pointed out like they found like she tried to do it before it over to the left and didn't do it right, so she had a second take.
It was in frame. And
somebody's like, when the first take doesn't go well, but it needs to be Instagram perfect. That's why people hate you. I'm not even saying it's right, but I get it.
Yeah. I think Candace Owens also said, this is basically Eat, Pray, Love 2 starring Meghan Markle.
You know
like, that's the vibe.
What she should
Cringy rom-com.
They're making Suits LA with Stephen Amell. They need to, like, I don't even remember.
No, get on the Suits reboot.
Yeah.
Get on Deal or No Deal. Do the briefcase thing. And Yeah, issue that as your mea culpa. You don't actually have to say you're sorry. Yep. You just have to, as you said, be willing to be the butt of the joke or be willing to be the bad guy sometimes.
Yep, you have to do both.
And don't they say you're always the villain in someone else's story?
So it's really funny. So people were talking about Hulk Hogan getting booed out of the building at Netflix Monday Night Raw in LA because he's like, I think he had like a Trump shirt on or he's waving an American flag. See, all he has to do in that situation is to come back out as heel Hulk Hogan, a Hollywood Hulk Hogan with the NWO shirt when he was playing the bad guy. What do you do then? They can't boo you because that's the point.
Right. Yeah.
That's what they gotta do.
Then you win.
Yep.
Then profit.
Harder for her in this case, but
looking at some of the comments, I'm sure the like to dislikes on this video is absolutely insane.
It just feels so performative to hate that much. Like the closest thing that I can think of for me was like The Crow. I was very mad at The Crow this year.
I hope there's a scene in With Love, Meghan, where she makes Harry a peanut butter jelly sandwich, and then she like very delicately cuts off the crust on the sandwich.
So what if he turns into the heel and he's like, this is disgusting. I want to.
You know, he's like, you just burnt the casserole again.
That's it. He has to slip in at least one line where he's like, back to the kitchen.
Yeah, she's literally where she belongs, I think.
I don't know, guys.
But she's not even cooking. She was like putting flowers in ice cubes and shit.
Yeah.
Like what? That's not cooking. And then like frolicking around a garden with a bunch of like you're eating raspberries and with your friends and none of this actually involves cooking. It's just flinging things around and laughing.
Look, these types of shows, like I don't know if this show.
I bet she gets flour on, like a little bit of flour on her cheek, and goes this, like that. Yeah.
Again, that's all super fake, but like. These types of shows do well. Like I don't know if hers will because there's so much baggage around her public image. But
I would hate watch.
These types of shows
personally
tend to be a license to print money for most of these networks. You don't see a lot of like the house flipping shows get one season.
Yeah, but we don't know what the ratings were on the Harry and Meghan docuseries.
Documentary is different than this though. This is slice of life stuff. It's a different market. So
we'll see.
I don't know.
Let's finish up these super chats.
Let's get to a fourth crisis party, guys. We're almost there. We're halfway there.
Stefan Buttle said, I feel personally attacked. Why? Vivek's tweet about Stefan and Steve Urkel. David Lowe said, the Lord fights the battle, just be still. I like that. Ulvin McGoth said, sounds like Vivek was bullied as a kid for being a nerd and never had friends. I mean, it does sound like that, doesn't it? Is someone who went to high school with Vivek going to speak out?
Isn't getting rich and starting businesses supposed to be your...
That's still not enough.
Your just dessert. Like, isn't that supposed to be your
what
reward?
You would think about people in Hollywood, though. Yeah. That they were bullied in high school or they were uncool theater kids and then they got rich and famous, so it's fine. But no, they're still filled with resentment from it. Yeah. So it just never goes away. No Control said, if anything, the woke media experiment has shown that art is made towards what the audience wants, not what you want the audience to want. Promoting nerds in movies isn't going to change the culture.
Well, the point is there's still a relatable story amongst this, like a jock in real life who is not a caricature of a jock in a movie has empathy and can watch a story about a geek getting picked on and then becoming successful and still get enjoyment out of that because he's a fully formed human being who understands what storytelling actually is.
But there's a reason it's a story. Someone like Zach Morris in real life wouldn't have even been friends with Screech. Okay? So the whole thing is unrealistic. Shane H. Wilder said, he doesn't understand that you need to be well-rounded. I know a lot, but I also hung out with people, watched TV. Book smarts aren't everything. They're not. They're really not. There's so much more to life. And you notice that, like, if you have the book smarts and you lack in other areas and you notice that and you see the way that other people excel in different areas of life, then you should have some humility and not just think, oh, they're inherently inferior to me.
And in the chat, it is said, Bob says, being a nerd has never been more accepted than it is today. Yes, now nerd hobbies come complete with cosplay hoes.
Well, the unfortunate thing is the nerd hobbies are no longer associated with intelligent people.
Nope.
That went away like decades ago. So the stereotype is just consuming. Easy E said, it's way harder to be successful as a hyper-intelligent nerd than an average IQ person because society was designed by and for the average person. Well, increasingly, I would believe society is being designed by the hyper-intelligent people, and it's being designed for the below-average person, not the way that you put it. And I think that's the way that someone like Vivek wants society to be structured so that it's less accessible and there's less upward mobility, if that makes sense.
You see the tweet the other day where this person said it was like a tweet that said my Instacart driver's a woman, and it's like
I did see that, and they we need to obliterate the middle class.
And there became a whole discussion about class warfare, and I'm just like, I want out of this ride.
That's when you close the app. Yep. You know. Kai said, I'm convinced white PO'd me because
YouTube PO'd me. I don't know what PO'd.
I don't know what that means because Preem is gone. I don't know what that is.
What?
I don't get it. Pop Culture Junkie said, crisis PR has become the latest Hollywood cottage industry or grift, depending on your view. I agree. Actually, there are so many people who claim that they worked in PR. Like, I just saw people just claim that they have jobs that they don't freaking have. Like, I saw a girl who was like 21 years old on my Reels tab, and she was like, I work in fashion trend forecasting.
What does that mean?
That's not real, okay? And I don't believe you. But yeah, I do think it is becoming a grift. Cesario JPN said, happy 2025, Mary and Mocha. Oh, hi, Brett.
Hello.
Happy 2025. Shane H. Wilder.
We're halfway to a fourth crisis party. Just another reminder.
It's going to happen. Don't doubt it. Shane H. Wilder said, saw the video. I didn't think it was a bad fall at first. Since you were injured at the castle, do you get workman's comp?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Well, you actually signed a waiver specifically for that purpose.
Yeah, so there's a pretty ironclad rule in any sport like that where the falls that look awful don't hurt at all, and the falls that don't look like anything end up being the ones that do the most damage. A good example was one of the worst injuries that I ever had was I tore ligaments in my knee, and I didn't even fall. I landed, caught like the corner of like where two blocks of cement meet, and then there's like a divide there. So one of them was just slightly more indented, and my wheel just caught in the divot and bent my leg at an odd angle, and immediately straightened back out, and I kept moving, and I knew right away that I was fucked. Like I was like, I felt the tendon tear in my leg, and I didn't even fall. Like I immediately rolled, stopped, lift up off that leg, and then sat down. And I said, hospital. When I fell on this, I was like, I heard a crunch in my shoulder, and I'm like, okay, there's a, like, if you saw the picture, there's like a huge,
I saw the
like
picture,
my
I saw the picture.
There's, well, I don't know if anybody is watching, like, so my shoulder is like sticking out at an odd angle, and I'm like, okay, so it could either be dislocated or a bone could be broken or something along those lines. This sucks. I have to go to the hospital, but I knew it right away because I heard it when I fell. But it, again, didn't look bad.
That sound. Mm-hmm. Kai said, Emily W. King is also great. Sorry, Brett, you're old. It's only getting worse. And stars are the only people more daft than politicians and bully cops.
Pretty true. I would actually push back on the age thing for me. Like there's a lot of people in these sports older than me that are still doing it at a very high level. It's just a matter of, how much time you can actually put into it. And, doing so. And it's a lot to do with physical fitness. It's my own issue because I'm just not skating as regularly as I used to. Like when I first started working here, I still skated every single day, whether it was for an hour or two. outside, and now I get in maybe 2 to 3 days a week, and it's just not enough to not expect something to happen, especially when it's cold out and your bones are just more brittle and your response time is slower.
Omega Red fan
and
said,
Emily W. King, she's kind of like the dadvocate, if I remember.
Oh, I
correctly.
didn't.
She's
I
the
never
one,
heard of her.
She does like the videos, kind of talking about men's mental health and men's issues and stuff like that.
She's a woman. What does she know about men's mental health?
But then she like does the thing where she slides into frame of the mirror and does the video. I guarantee you've seen something from her.
On New Year's, I saw some person, like this guy, wearing a jacket that said on the back, it was like huge letters. It said, "Men's mental health matters." And at that point I was just like, you know what? Like, no, it doesn't. Like, I just wanted to like go up to him and be like, that's a dumb jacket. Like, why are you wearing that right now?
It does matter, but I would never wear something
Why?
like that.
You would never. I mean, obviously, you would never wear something that's stupid.
Everyone's mental health should matter to them.
But
and the
also,
people in their
like,
lives.
but also, no, it doesn't. Like, there are so many things that matter way more than your mental health.
Well, I mean, he's making
honestly
the same people. Like, the question is, if you think that that's if that jacket doesn't bother you, does wearing Black Lives Matter bother you? If one does and one doesn't, I'm saying like to most people, like if one bothers you and one doesn't, there's some bias.
Are you asking which one is worse? Which one is worse?
I'm saying both of them are, you know.
Yeah, I would laugh at whoever that was, no matter what it said. Omega Red fan said, "What's missing in new Spider-Man movies? Bruce Campbell cameos. Happy New Year, crisis actors."
That is true, but perhaps if Sam Raimi ever, directs another Spider-Man movie, we can see that. As an aside, over the holidays, I was watching old episodes of The Librarians, and probably one of the most inspired castings I've ever seen was in like episode 2 of that show. They cast Bruce Campbell as Santa Claus, and it's freaking fantastic. It's fantastic. Also, you should watch Carry On, even though it's a Christmas-ish movie. I watched Carry On over the holidays with Taron Egerton and Jason Bateman. It was a lot of fun. It was really good.
The DJ Foy said Tom could do the Rick Moranis thing, minus the wife dying, and do do more of the occasional voice or cameo role every few years while being a dad.
Yeah, avoid the wife dying part. Yeah.
And all the other terrible things that have happened to him, right? Isn't he has bad luck?
Yeah.
How
can you do that to the man who brought us Honey, I Shrunk the Kid?
It was such a good movie. Tacti Plati said, "I started the Bravo renaming. I have the receipts." Did you?
All right, well, good.
I find that hard to believe. Pat the Plumber said she only has one name. She's more famous. So
Zendaya?
she's more famous because she has no last name.
Yeah. I suppose
she doesn't even need one.
She doesn't even need one.
Yeah. Kai said justice for Peanut and manhood for Harambe.
Okay.
I don't know what the
you're never
latter
gonna
half means, and it's too late for justice for Peanut.
You're
I'm
never
sorry.
going to get justice for Peanut.
I almost forgot about Peanut.
It's the state that you're going to have to get justice against, and nobody ever wins against the state.
Rest in Peanut. Greg Duvier said, "Sorry, I am late. Meeting same time PCC started. Congratulations, Brett gets on the engagement. Most movie cliche time of the year to get engaged." Yeah. Did it feel Hallmark? Like, did it feel...
No, it felt absolutely 100% appropriate. So...
I'm not saying that would be inappropriate.
No, so I would have never proposed over Christmas. I had initially planned to propose early in January. And we had discussions and a whole thing that preceded it that made the moment that I proposed the perfect time. And the date didn't really matter. The time of year didn't really matter.
So it would have happened anyway.
It would have happened anyways. I mean, we didn't...
Whatever month.
When I spoke to her father, we spoke about, like, I was like, I told him, I said, like, next month. And then...
Then boop.
And then boop. Yeah, it was like, and then they were very surprised.
Greg Duvier said, "Sorry, I am late meeting same." Oh, I already read this one. Duh. The Manic Mustache said, "The problem with getting old is that when you hurt yourself, the fall never meets your expectations for how badly you actually injured. Papa Mustache tore his ACL punching a rogue badger. Stay toxic."
The thing about, like, for me is, like, even now, it's as long as the arm is, like, not in motion, I'm not in a ton of pain, and, like, I don't have to take ibuprofen for something like this because I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I have to reach, like overexert and possibly damage it more. So I'm actually 100% fine. Like I had to take 2 ibuprofen yesterday for a headache, not for probably because I was dehydrated. I drank like a gallon of water and then took an ibuprofen, but not because my arm hurt, but because I had a headache.
You're just tough. You're just built different.
That's me. I am.
Gordon Shumway said, I would want to see a show where Harry is actually awesome in the kitchen and she's a complete disaster. Then every time she screws up, he goes Gordon Ramsay on her.
They could do a thing. You know what they need to do? They need to have their own version of Victoria Beckham, where she says like,
yeah.
she's like, I grew up poor. He's like, be honest.
Yeah.
I grew up middle class. Be honest.
What car did your dad drive you to school in?
She's like, I'm black. He's like, be honest. She's like,
did you have any black friends? Yeah, I don't think so. Potatoes for Seamus said, hi, Mary. I missed you so much. Oh, hey, Brett, heal up.
Thank you so much. I will be all right.
High Voltage 75 sent us $2 without a message. Thank you. Kai said, no one can replace Princess Diana and F Disney. I do get the sense that Meghan Markle was going out of her way to imitate Diana.
A little bit.
Or
that other one, the Marchioness of Bath or Princess of Bath or whatever. I saw that stuff.
But she's like doing this kind of Freudian manipulation tactic on Harry where he like misses his mom, so she's gonna like try to act like the carbon copy of her.
The best thing that she could do right now is just take a bunch of roles as bad guys in movies and television. Like somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember how they left off on Suits. I don't know if Mike and Rachel stayed together, but she needs to come to Suits LA, leave Mike, like break up with him, get divorced, take half of whatever he's got, and then go and try and get in with Stephen Amell's character on Suits LA and just be a total heel.
Love it for her. Shane H. Wilder said, Vivek's favorite movie is probably Revenge of the Nerds. That is not a good thing because the nerds did some horrible things.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie. Should I? Yeah. DCNC said faking injuries to get time off work, faking injuries for workers' compo, wearing a sling for sympathy, walk it off soldier, etc., etc.
I'm an adult. I'm not gonna get angry. I'm an adult. I'm not gonna get angry. Though it was like there was a certain level of bad luck yesterday where it's like we had 2 weeks of like weather in the 50s. And then
what happened?
Major snowstorm right before we go back to work.
I was enjoying myself.
Yep.
High Voltage 75 said, it's good to have you back, Miss Morgan and future Mr. Claire.
We're not hyphenating.
You're doing the feminist thing by taking her middle name.
That's what's going to happen.
New Guy Don't Haze Me said, I have to echo the compliments of Emily W. King. She's amazing and understands how women should treat men.
Well, there you go.
You know who I think really understands how women should treat men?
Meghan Markle.
No.
Who?
Wait, do you think you can guess?
No.
Dr. Laura.
I don't know who that is.
How do you not know who Dr. Laura is?
No clue. Who the hell's Dr. Laura?
I don't really know what her title is.
Okay.
But she has a radio show.
Okay, so she's like a like actual terrestrial radio, not like a podcast?
Well, I guess it started out on radio.
Okay.
And then, yeah. Shane H. Wilder said, there is truth to not thinking you are as injured as you are. A few years ago, I thought I dislocated my arm only to find I snapped it in half.
Oh, yeah. Like the number one thing for me was just like this. It's a little bit different now. But like I one time had to go in and get my hands x-rayed. And they was like, why didn't you have any of these breaks set on your fingers? Like if you just kind of pretend you're not injured, sometimes you're all right. Like,
did you have to do that eventually, or
no, they just
healed wrong?
They just healed badly because I didn't actually get them fixed.
You should have gotten them fixed.
So apart from my fingers, the only break that I've ever had was my collarbone, and that was not from skating. That was back when I played hockey. So I don't even I was so young when that happened. I don't know what shoulder, like what side it was on. But I don't know if that's connected to this. But really, it was just you're not supposed to land on top of your arm with all your weight. It's not a good idea. And again, like to be honest, if it wasn't for Olivia, I probably would only wear the sling like a quarter of the time. Like if I'm not wearing it, she's like, put it on.
I mean, your pinky is still fucked up and crooked.
That is true. But the point is like, I have to be like helped for my own good. Because I don't.
It's an accessory. Yeah. I think it elevates your outfit, in my opinion.
Yeah, black shirts only for the next. Right. Somebody said get an American flag sling. I was like, that's a pretty good idea. I might actually do that.
Kai,
or get a PCC sling.
Yeah. We'll sell it on our Teespring. Kai said PO equals pissed off, preem equals premium.
Oh, so you're like, you think that YouTube's screwing you because you don't have premium anymore? I had to get premium back because I have to now commute so much longer to work. Yeah, it's a good thing.
I will never bother. High Voltage 75 said, if there's a silver lining to you being gone for so long, it's I saved some money, not super chatting. Thanks for making my wallet a little fatter, PCC.
Well, anything to help.
Yeah.
Anything to help.
Of course.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, anytime. But not really anytime, because we still want you to super chat.
For instance, we're almost at the 4th crisis party now.
TheTruth.com sent us the very first super chat.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Make art that's good and don't pander. If you become synonymous with one subject matter, you're stuck in it.
There's actually like at least in this realm, there's actually the opposite argument. So on YouTube, you actually do better when you have a very specific field of focus. Our shows like ours actually struggle sometimes because we cover such a weird
like you can't just talk
grab bag of everything,
like Superman and Meghan Markle. Like you can't.
Even that's
really
like
do that.
Even that's kind of closer to what I'm thinking of than like, and then femcells, and then internet humor, and then vaguely politics.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
Like we get hamstrung a little bit because the name of the show is Pop Culture Crisis, but that doesn't mean I don't want to talk about how Mark Hamill was driven insane by Donald Trump winning the election. It's somewhere between the two. It covers both. But channels that have a specific narrow realm of focus, channels that just cover a specific sport or just cover books or just cover something like that, those channels do really, really well because people tune into you for that specific content. If you're not going to do that, you kind of have to become a personality where people tune into you for you, right? Like Razor Fist can make videos on politics. He can make videos on pop culture. He can do gaming streams because people tune in for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gordon Shumway said, Mary, do not watch Revenge of the Nerds. It has not aged well. Is that true? You're setting me up for failure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Potatoes for Seamus said, Brett, you better treat Olivia right or Mocha will hurt you. And Brett, what are your favorite baby names? Mary, when's your engagement gonna be?
Well, I knew that one was coming. That's
definitely.
Also taco. I'm not gonna share the baby names. I'm gonna keep that one private. Sorry.
Is anything private? How about we keep everything private now? That's the way I would like it. Not that John Stewart said, I honestly did not notice the sling, but y'all are on my second screen and I'm playing video games.
Like that's kind of good, right?
That's
like
why we're here.
It blends in with the shirt.
Is that all of them?
High Voltage 75 says,
I missed a bunch of them.
there's a bunch up here.
Sorry. Tacty Platty said, Brett also in effed up Pinky Gang.
It's fine now. I can close my hand all the way now.
Is that like a brain rot thing? Gang. Pinky doll.
Oh, there's been so much good brain rot over the holidays. Like the dude Jelly House, who makes the brain rot songs, like he did last Riz Day night. Did a brain rot cover of Baby by Justin Bieber called Mango.
Day night. Yeah. I can't.
But he did one of Justin Bieber's Baby called Mango, and it's the greatest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I went like so much so that when you see that type of content, it's designed to be cut up into like 1 minute increments so that they can make YouTube shorts or like Instagram reels about it. I went and found the whole song, and it's incredible.
I really
Justice
like,
for John Pork.
The Falling in Reverse cover of Gangster's Paradise.
Punk goes pop.
That doesn't even exist anymore, Punk sadly, but they just did it. Tacty Platty said also in YouTube Premium for commute gang.
Yeah, YouTube Premium is really, really good. Also, I want to give
You mean for music?
No. Just it gives you. I can watch full length videos from people and not have to get interrupted by ads. It's the whole point for me. But go. There it is.
There is the fourth.
Thank
you
you guys. which means that since we're talking about YouTube and YouTube Premium, I danced on one of them.
Wow.
It's easier when my arms.
New year, new Brett.
I want to give another shout out. I've never met or spoken to the guy, but Greg Owen is my favorite YouTube channel right now, and you should go watch all of his videos. They're fantastically well done, in-depth analysis of a lot of the stuff that we cover, you know, as far as relating to movies and entertainment. And it actually is like, I wish that I could be that articulate with my thoughts. It's very, very good. Watch his video on why negativity thrives on YouTube, and watch his video about dad TV. They're old videos from like 11 months ago. Very, very good stuff.
High Voltage 75 said, my New Year's resolution is to cut back on frivolous super chats.
Well,
shit.
The good thing is, High Voltage, is that we're important. So no super chat to us could ever be considered frivolous.
It's not frivolous.
Other people
It's an it's an essential expense.
Like sending one to Timcast IRL could be considered frivolous.
Definitely.
This, not so much.
Yeah. Kai said, def glad I was after Mill before the trauma set in.
I
don't even know what that means. I swear I know how to read. That just doesn't make any sense.
Did we get this one from Not That Jon Stewart? Oh, yeah.
The sling?
Yeah. I got it.
High Voltage 75. Mary, what was your worst injury?
Yeah, what's your worst injury?
I don't really do sports or whatever, so like I don't.
Yeah.
Nothing ever really happened. I guess I split my tongue open once when I fell on the ground.
Yeah. Did it heal over the whole way?
It was underneath my tongue, actually.
Unlike mine, which still has the huge hole in it.
No, it wasn't like that. It was like actually under the skin under my tongue, like tore open. But that's not even that bad. That's like nothing.
Anything?
Yeah, there's like nothing.
That's good. That's,
like
keep that energy.
But that only means that I've done zero risk-taking behaviors. So that's just who I am. Shane H. Wilder. I'll sum up Revenge of the Nerds. Nerd gets bullied. Nerd tricks jocks GF into sleeping with him. Nerd gets the girl. It is a truly awful movie.
Yeah.
That's the plot?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing? Okay.
He's leaving out some stuff.
I guess I don't need to watch it now. Not That Jon Stewart said YouTube Premium also has a lot of full-length movies, them trying to be Netflix.
Yes, but I remember years ago trying to watch some of them, and I remember them being heavily edited. And maybe I just misremember it, but I never went back to watching movies on YouTube Premium again because a bunch of the ones that had like noticeable parts missing.
High Voltage 75. What about having your hair ripped out in a bar fight?
There you go.
Well, I guess that would be the worst injury. It could definitely be a lot worse than that. Only my ego was wounded that night.
One more.
Sirenko Productions said 3 times the amount and still no play button. Where you at, YouTube?
Seriously, guys.
I've been saying. But like, seriously, why can't we just have it? Like, why?
Seriously, why can't we have nice things?
We really can't have shit around here.
All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here yet already. If you are new here, I hope you really, really enjoyed this episode, and we hope that you will stick around. We're having a lot of fun doing this. Mary, where can they find you? Oh, they got a couple more.
One more from Shane H. Wilder. My resolution is to get through Rosary in a year and Vatican II in a year. The former is going to be easier than the latter. That sounds intense. Yeah. I mean, good luck with that and everything. You guys can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. We have one more from Greg Duvier. I am caught up watching at 2 times speed. Mocha has gotten justice from Brett because Brett decided to be her cat dad. It's sweet how it all worked out like that.
Dad who stepped up, right?
Yeah.
Cat dad who stepped up. All right, guys. If you want to follow me, Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms, I would like you guys to please go over there and submit your pets for Cute of the Day. Hashtag PCC Pets. Tag me and the show in there at popculture_show. We are here 5 days a week, normally Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sorry for missing yesterday. That is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would prefer to listen rather than watch the show, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. We would love it if you do that because it helps the channel grow. And if you want to follow the show on social media, Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok at popculturecrisis, and on Instagram at popculturecrisispod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. See you then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.